Hello, everyone. So Monday, President's
Yes.
Day. Um, hope everybody had a good Monday. Mine went okay. Didn't go the way I wanted, but it's still a good day though. So trying to do better about seeing things that way. And but with that, let's go ahead and get started. And a lot to talk about, a lot to go on. Let's talk about hot seats. You know,
On a hot seat right now.
Jay, I will give you your props. I mean, not that I didn't see it coming, not that I wasn't that I didn't think it was possible, but you definitely called it out. So I give you your props.
Ooh.
Mr. Florida State is on the hot seat, Mr.
Oh,
50.
Dion. Yay, Dion.
No, 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 no. Not,
Norval.
not, not that. Yeah, there we go. Norval. I mean, the
Oh, he
actual
should have
Florida
been.
State.
His ass should have been torched anyway. He should
Well,
have
I
been
mean,
torched.
you got to remember, if his quarterback doesn't get hurt, they get in the playoff.
But that does not
And
change the
and
fact of
and
that
and
next season.
nobody leaves. It's like he basically got the short end of the stick when he was supposed to be riding high. So I understand why it took them so long, but
But my
but
question,
yeah, we should definitely be here,
but my question is though, and that was the first year where NIL really took off.
right?
And you've seen how teams, even in the playoff this year, got dispersed from and got picked and poached from during that time frame. So we
Yeah.
can't really sit there and assume that it would have been people wouldn't have transferred out afterwards if they had a better opportunity at a school, knowing that Travis was going. Was it Travis that was the quarterback when he got hurt? Yeah, it was Travis.
Yeah.
That if he got hurt, that they wouldn't have been back. They would have gotten where they wanted to be. So it's not. I can't give that one that much credence. I'm more of like we were talking about, just like we were talking about in the basketball side with K State before we started the show. With that, yeah, you was one injury away from getting to the playoff, and then you got decimated because everybody just said you because everybody quit on your team.
Yeah. Like
Now,
like that
but
was
as a coach and as a GM, you are supposed to be able to rebuild that team into something to where you can have a fighting chance the next year.
yeah, but it's one thing to try to replace like one, two, three, four people. It's another thing to have to replace pretty much on both sides of the ball, almost a complete starting lineup
And I
because
get
they
that.
because they lost a lot of people, and
Yeah.
then on top of that, people left after the year was over,
But
if
then
I'm not mistaken.
right, but then
So
the other part about that though was that even if I give you a mulligan for that year after that, then you come back this year and it seems like y'all shooting off, you rebuilt it, you're fine, and then it comes crashing down on the back end.
yeah,
That's when you start. That's when
I
it
don't know
starts.
if they got the big head or what the hell happened, but
But you
like I
can't.
told you, I was like, I watched that game versus Alabama. I'm like, oh my God, the old Florida State is back. Let's go.
Right. And I was in
And
the same boat, like, okay, y'all beat Bama. But to turn around and have it get basically, you can't that they were the epitome of that person that was down, they got a taste of success, and it went straight to their head and didn't realize that they had to put in the work to stay there.
yeah,
And by the time they realized that they had to put in the work to stay there, it was too late. And that falls on your leader. That's your coach. And
yeah,
you can't be sitting there looking like this all the freaking time. You was a deer in headlights. So it's not. And the other part of it that made no sense was everybody else that was around you, especially in the hotbed of Florida, that did that same routine, got the axe. but for some reason you was kept. Now all of a sudden, that's why when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, y'all came out right after the season said we're keeping him. So it's
Yeah,
like, okay,
well, now there's rumors going around now that he could be on the hot seat.
but what do you go? But here's the problem: are you on the hot seat for this upcoming season, or are you on the hot seat immediately? Because if you're on the hot seat immediately, 9 times out of 10, that means they already know who they're going to put in place in order to come and get you. The problem with that is that you got spring ball coming up in another month. If you're going to make a move, the NIL period is over. The transfer portal period is over. You make a move now, you're opening yourself up to a world of hurt because that transfer portal reopens for anybody after a coaching change for 30 days. So what you even have in told right now could exodus and go to other schools if the other schools might have an opportunity for them right before spring ball. So it's not Florida State's doing something that's very really not smart. They should be coming out and squashing all the rumors saying we're going to go through this year and see how it goes instead of letting the rumors linger, because now you're going to have people, you've already heard the coaches sitting up there saying they don't like the fact of other schools contacting their players while they're under scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how that's going to be if Florida State, if Florida State, if word gets out that Florida State might be firing him. Everybody gonna be trying to poach their players, and Florida State gonna run out a team that looks like an NAIA football team,
Yeah.
and that ain't cool. But that administration, the part that caught me off guard with that was, did you see how much in debt they are?
No.
They are. Pull it up as we're talking. I want to say that they are almost $468 million in debt.
Wow.
It was a story last week. No, Florida State University. Darn it. Not the state of Florida. Yeah, Florida State athletic rated. Well, Florida State's athletic related debt reached $437 million in fiscal year 25, driven by major facilities upgrades and high stakes investments in football. While this is amongst the highest in the nation, the debt is primarily composed of bonds for infrastructure rather than unsecured high interest debt, reported in a YouTube video. Despite these
Mm.
liabilities, only 32% of FSU students graduate with debt. So they're $437 million in debt for their athletic department.
And on top of that, the reason why this may just remain a rumor, his buyout.
Right.
It's
And
like
that's
you already in debt. You really can't afford to fire him.
and that's where, and the other part that tag teams off of that is that your alumni is not going to come to your aid when you've just been meandering like that. It's not like a couple of alumni can come together and get the money for the buyout,
Right.
but they would have, the only way they're going to go buy him out is if Dion comes home. That's it. That's the only way that they would buy him out. And I don't think you want Dion. It's not going to meet. It doesn't make any sense. That's, to me, Norville to Dion would be a lateral move.
I Yeah, I could see that.
But the only thing is that because where Norville can coach, but he can't recruit, Dion can recruit, but he can't coach. Hey, it may be easier to keep all the homegrown talent in Florida. Who knows? But nah. That's funny. I didn't even see that one. Like,
Yeah, I be sitting up here, and the thing that annoys me about about this is that I can't just sit up here and just go and just like basically this is what I do. Just because every time like I open like a new page, whether I open a new tab or open a
Mhm.
new block, whether it's anime, whether it's sports, whether it's news, I got all kinds of stuff that technically could keep me busy all day just posting content. And it's like,
That's what.
but
But
I can't get my um whatchamacallit, Facebook has my page protected where I've even closed it on my phone and tried to open it up on my laptop and it will not let me do it. And it's like, wow. But
that's
anyway, uh yeah, so I want to see, oh, well, that just popped up in my lap. Yeah, we can talk about that because we're
what.
gonna end up talking about that guy anyway. So, yeah, to put a bow on this, uh, they are in a pickle, and unless I need to know what do they be doing, and this ties in what we're gonna talk about later. Because they always talking about some, what can we do to motivate the players? Why are you not getting players that are motivated? Why?
That's a
We're
cop
getting
out.
these players that's motivated by money, and people are questioning like the new standard of how sports is because, oh, it's not a dynasty. Mer. Okay, it's not a dynasty. But don't don't you think the betters like it more interesting that way?
Yeah.
From an adrenaline standpoint, where you actually don't know who's gonna win, the rush, yes, it's nice to know, but the few betters that I have seen interviewed and people that like to bet that I've talked to a certain extent, they like the rush of actually not knowing.
Mm-hmm. That's a
You
damn
know,
sound.
and it just is it's ridiculous. I get so sick and tired because I don't understand it. It's like how can you have these people paying you all this money, have these investors paying you all this money, whether they're alumni, whether they're fans, whether they're owners, whatever the sport, and yet you got a coach that is not allowed to set the standard and make sure that he's bringing in the right people
It
that are naturally motivated
it's
to play for the team, that understand that everything you do on and off the court, you are not only representing yourself. I heard somebody say this the other day, and it's something that I've been saying on this brand for years, and it just got me pumping my fist from the couch. You know how I do. It just you are representing the team.
they don't care about that.
You are representing you. You are representing the team.
We
I don't get it.
I get it. I get it now, and I don't like it. The fact of the matter is this: a lot of the players, you start seeing this in the late 2010s, early 2020s, when you don't have to get it out the mud. You didn't grind through the entire season. You didn't grind through your high school basketball years and everything else like that, catching a bus to get to games or having to ride or having to even stay with the coach in order to be able to make it to practices and games and things like that to show that there's because of your passion for it. Then turn around and when you get to college, you got something to prove because you might not have been a high recruit or anything. You might not have got to the school that you wanted to, in there for it. But you got this offer, you're gonna make it work and make it be what it is, because your goal is to get to the NBA. Then you get to the NBA or you get to the NFL, and now you got something to prove because you wasn't a high draft pick. You in the league, or you might have been able to sign on as a free agent. You got to grind in order to make it. We don't have the stories like the Steph Currys, the Ryan Clarks, the who else was it? I forgot who else it was. Shoot, even you can even throw Giannis in there for it. We don't have those stories to where they work themselves up in order to get to that point. What you have now is a bunch of kids who are told in junior high school, because they can show skill set, a whole bunch of lesser athletes than them, that they can shoot a ball, they can run over people, they can throw a ball 40 yards in seventh grade, 40, 50 yards on there, that they are the chosen ones. And then you got adults, and I emphasize the word adults, sitting up there hitching their wagons to these kids, sitting up there saying, hey, we want you to come to this school. We'll give you this money. And now it's legal. Hey, we gonna give you this money. You can come here. You can get this one. So now your family's straight and you still in high school. So what's your driving motivation in order to get better? You don't have that driving motivation to get better during that time frame. You're sitting up here, instead of going to college to see who can develop you better and develop your skill set, you're going to college to who can pay you the most in that instance for it. So if school A can sit there and give you a $2 million a year NIL deal plus your college tuition, now you got $2 million. You ain't staying on campus. I just seen something that one of the students at either USC or UCLA is staying in a penthouse that's facing the Forum and SoFi Stadium.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of them getting their own house and getting married.
Right, but you staying in a penthouse. You're not even going through the college experience. You off to yourself.
Oh,
So
he getting the college experience because he got his own spot. I guarantee you, he is not spending a lot
it's
of
a
time in that
difference.
mug alone.
It's a difference. I'll take, because just to give you that idea, I told you about what happened. Did I tell you about what happened with my daughter with J. Cole?
Yes.
Okay. So for those who didn't hear the story offline with it, we all know J. Cole released an album a couple of weeks ago. J. Cole has been going on a city by city tour selling the album out of his trunk. He pulled up on Saturday night to my daughter's school. So to see hundreds to thousands of kids around somebody that within touching distance of that, you can't get that if you're in a penthouse in downtown Charlotte or in the upper level downtown Greensboro. You get that phone call, you like, damn, I wish I would have been down there. I love J. Cole. You can't get down there because they done blocked off the roads and you're not on campus because you think that you're above being around the campus. They've lost that grounding. They've lost that. The NIL has created something to where I was for it because I'm not a fan of somebody using your name, image, and likeness in any way, shape, or form without you being able to make some type of money off of it.
Yep.
But to the point to where it's separating you from the college experience,
Yes.
from the high school experience.
Yes.
What do
Which the sad part was, which the sad part was, it was kind of that anyway. Maybe not to this magnitude, but it was like
you
that
know?
anyway. But and the reason why I say that is this: even when they were on campus, they were treated like they were
They
the
were
cock,
treated like they had their own set of
like
rules.
they were the cocks of the walk. So they were getting that treatment. It just didn't have actual green to it.
It didn't have
Now
actually
you've given them the green. Now
you
they
giving
don't
them the
necessarily
green.
need you to do it, or
You
you could
giving them
do it.
all the things that we used to sit around when we was on college campus and we would see somebody, we would see a star player pull up in a car, was up there like, how you get that? Now we know how they getting it. It's just legal.
Yeah.
But even with that being said, even with them getting that, they had their first dibs for whatever place that they wanted to on campus. They had to still be around on campus. You can some of these players might have a tutor that comes and sits with them throughout all their classes during the school year while they're sitting in their print house. The only time they come out of their penthouse is to go to practice, go hang out for a little bit, and go work out. That's it. They probably, if you probably put them in the middle of campus, they probably wouldn't even know where the heck to go. But that's the world we created. Now, what you're hearing is that for so long, for the coaches now, the coaches are fighting back. It's not the administrators that's fighting back, it's the coaches. The coaches like, I can't coach these people. Okay, now that's making me question who brought these people in, because I thought you was leading the recruiting. If you're not leading the recruiting, then they can bring in whoever they want to. They're going to tell you, make it work.
Yeah.
So now you're pretty much just like a floor manager for your bosses. And I'm glad that the coaches are speaking up about it. I'm glad that they're saying stuff about it now, because at the end of the day, your whole reason why you're able to offer this NIL, you're able to offer this amount of money, that you're able to offer all these perks to these players in any sport to get them there, is because of one thing: winning. And if you're not winning, that prestige and everything starts to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. And other schools start creeping up there. Now it's like, okay, why can't we get these players? Why can't we get these top recruits? They going to South Florida instead of Florida State. Make that make sense? They going to Auburn, or they're going to UAB instead of going to Alabama. Why? Because some of these kids still actually want to be coached. They actually want to play. They actually want to get better.
And they know that they're gonna have to look at some of those lower schools to raise their chances of actually starting.
Yeah.
That's the other reason why kids are starting to say, "Oh, Vanderbilt, yeah, I'll go over there." Who they got over there? Oh, I'm starting over here.
Because now what you're gonna start seeing, you already gonna start seeing it a little bit, but what you're gonna start seeing is that you're gonna start seeing a lot of 4-star and 5-star players that used to go to these 5-star schools in college football and sit for a year, start playing the second year, and become the star in the third year, and then end up having to decide, do I come out or do I come back? You're gonna start seeing a lot of them going to the mid-majors, the lower major schools, and everything else to get in there and get the playing time. And with the transfer portal being how it is, I show out for 2 years down here, I raise my stature. That's just like the minor leagues getting caught up to the major leagues, getting caught up to one of the bigger schools.
Yep.
And so now they're about to make it to where you're about to turn a whole bunch of the mid-major schools into 2-year junior JUCOs. And then look at the flip side of that. Look at what's happening now. You got Sacramento State joining the MAC as the Mid-American Conference, the MAC, which we all know is every directional: Michigan, Miami, Akron, Toledo. You got a school in California joining in as a football-only school. And then you saw the other one drop, that North Dakota State is going into the Mountain West. They're leaving Division II to become a FBS school. Which really is going to throw some monkey wrenches in there, because there's been some times where that North Dakota State team would have beat some of the college football teams that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see who's going to try to schedule them, thinking that they're going to get a cupcake.
As long as it shows on the field, I'm all for this stuff. But that's the problem. It's not gonna always show. And
it showed on the field with Indiana.
Yes.
It's showing on the field, knock on wood. Miami of Ohio, for whatever you want to sit there and say right now with that, they're not getting the respect because they're a mid-major. But
Yeah.
for them to be the only undefeated left, if they run through the tournament and they get to the tournament undefeated and they're not higher than an 8 seed, then there's something wrong. Because there's something here's the reason why. From looking at the teams that's been around there in there, it goes into the same thing that we're talking about. You got a whole bunch of individuals that can put it together and can take the coaching when they want to, but because they are a higher name, they're ranked higher. But at any given game, when they start getting selfish or they start looking out for themselves and they don't want to listen to the coaches, they can get knocked off.
Yeah, but let's remember let's not make them a victim of like TCU. You
No,
you you
no.
you remember what happened because they kept going undefeated and people was getting mad. It was like how come y'all ain't giving us our flowers? And then they gave them their flowers and the flowers
Oh yeah.
and the
I'm not
flowers got destroyed. Now let's be honest about their conference now.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they would not lose in the first round. But you cannot sit there and tell me that there's 10 teams with 10 losses that should be over an undefeated team once the tournament if they make it through they if they win their conference and their conference tournament and remain undefeated.
I I get what you're saying, but the that one thing that always rings true at the end of the day is gonna ring true. There's gonna be some exceptions, obviously, but at the end of the day, what always rings true, who did you play to get here? And we saw that from the bigger conferences where where people
Yeah.
got snuffed out. So that's all I'm saying is just keep that in mind. I respect
Oh, I
what you're
am.
saying and why you're saying it, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, Miami of Ohio. What conference are they in? Let's really that what we're doing? Hmm?
Right. But
I
then they turn around, but then you'll turn around and they'll say what conference they're playing, and then they'll end up being the Florida Atlantic. They'll end up being because Florida Atlantic, when they went on that Final Four run, they didn't play nobody, but they were
yeah
a team that had been together for a while.
yeah, and that's the thing. Wherever you get put get your opportunity to get there and work if and work for that higher spot.
Hmm.
Understand your level. Wherever they put you, understand that level, and then go in there, punch everybody in the mouth, let everybody see. Oh, this okay. Okay. Start punching people in the mouth.
Right.
Get deep up there so that people start talking about you like Butler did. Remember, Butler once upon a time, nobody, I'm like, Butler, where is Butler? I didn't even know where Butler was. I'm like,
No.
Butler's in Indiana? Really? It's,
And then they flipped that into a Big 12 spot
yeah,
after the consistency doing.
yeah. So that's all I'm saying. I definitely get what you're saying, and I can respect it, but at the same time, let's keep everything
Yeah,
a
I'm
buck.
gonna let but you know me. We getting ready to hit that time of year in a couple of weeks. I'm
Yeah.
all for it.
Speaking of that, let's roll through some talks. Which one? This one gonna be quick. Um, whew. Not only are things ugly in Pittsburgh, but apparently they ugly if you no longer play for Pittsburgh. You
Did you
got
see Ryan Clark's video that he posted?
no.
I'll send it to you. He posted up something about this saying, "Do we need to go to team therapy?" He legitimately like he was going like tell the fans what's going on because I'm sitting up here, I'm laughing at this because I told you that dysfunction was gonna come and it was gonna be ugly, and it's ugly right now.
Let's be honest. Because there was a shade of protection going on, you knew something was wrong in Pittsburgh with
Yeah,
Le'Veon Bell and 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 AB decided they wanted out all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, but because of the way, because of certain things that they had done, and you knew the reputation of Pittsburgh, and the front office knew the reputation of Pittsburgh, they weren't worried. And that's why you have to be careful how you carry yourself and how you represent yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because you may actually be telling the truth about some things. And but ain't nobody gonna listen, because the first thing that they gonna do is it's like that dude Michael Moore every time he say something about the government. They go and they find something that as soon as they put it out there, people go, "Oh, why am I listening to him?"
Mm-hmm.
He may have some points about everything he said. Don't matter. Is like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Don't listen to him.
But it also showed, like we had talked about before, the culture that Tomlin had in there. As soon as he left, that culture died. It was already dying. It was on life support.
Yeah.
And it seems like as soon as they pulled the plug, all the family members start infighting because they
Mhm.
want the legacy to be dictated how they feel like it should be dictated with that. And nobody's 100% wrong. Nobody's 100% right throughout the entire thing. But the fact of the matter is this: some battles within the family needs to be kept at home. What did Jay say in the song? Nobody wins when the family feuds. You got a
Yeah.
whole new regime that's coming in there, and instead of looking at how you're going to keep the playoff and non-losing season streak alive, we're talking about players that's been out the league for more than 5 years, and them bickering about things that happened back in the day.
Mhm.
And I can't never knock what they've done throughout their history. But like I said, your whole crux of your being is built off of what you did in the 1970s. Nobody says nothing about the 1980s. Nobody says nothing about the early part of the 90s. Because see, people fail to realize I'm 10 toes down in this since birth. I remember Bubby Brister. I remember Neil O'Donnell. You know what I'm saying? I remember the bus was the best thing that happened to them.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they're deep because they couldn't score nothing, but you had Kevin Green, you had Greg Lloyd, you know what I'm saying? You had Rod Woodson, you had all them back there terrorizing
Carnell
people.
Lake, Levon Kirkland.
You had all them people back there, but the offense couldn't score. So now, but leave it to them. Hey, you know what it is? We made it to the Super Bowl. We won two. Yeah. After you won four in what 6 years, you won two in 25. Do I have the right to say anything being from Cincinnati? No. But the reality of it is this: since 1981, we've both made the same amount of Super Bowls.
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
that y'all won two of them and lost one. That's all you can. That's all you can sit there and say.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's why it's not. That's why when we were having the conversation, we were talking about the mediocre, how mediocrity can get glossed over by just one simple fact of saying, "Well, it's winning." That's
And
what it
that's why
was.
and that's why I never like I hate, you know me, I you know me, we talk about it every time I hear it. Every time I hear a player say a win is a win. Shut up, stop talking.
No, no.
Because that phrase is an open door for losing, because you're basically saying it is what it is. we're not gonna worry about the mistakes and trying to improve. It may not be what you meant to say, but literally that's the way it sounds. It's like when somebody's pointing out, it's like, well, you had this flaw, and that flaw, and they go, hey, a win's a win. It's like,
Man,
whoa.
a boxer can sit there and win a fight on a lucky punch and knock somebody out and still end up with brain damage for the ass beating that they took throughout the whole fight.
Yes, sir.
So it that doesn't that whole semblance of a win is a win never makes sense. Just like
Yeah.
this whole semblance of this arguing between if y'all ain't like each other while y'all was playing, cool. Y'all still did good. As a football team, I ain't gotta like you, but I gotta help you get to my ultimate goal, which is to win and to get that belt. That's the whole game plan.
Yeah. And the latest person to be involved in this is a cornerback named Steven Nelson. Apparently, he basically is echoing what Levon and AB was basically saying that made them want to leave. That basically um everything was about Ben and making sure Ben was happy to the detriment of the team. Now,
But we knew that. We knew that. Tell me something we didn't know.
you knew it, but you knew it, but you
But
was
at the
like,
end of the day, who's going at the end of the day, realistically, if you think about any of those Pittsburgh Steelers teams, the first thing that's come out name that you're gonna think of is Ben Roethlisberger. Because they had multiple running backs come through while he was there.
hmm.
You gotta remember wide receivers before AB was Hines Ward and Plaxico,
And Emmanuel Sanders
Sanders,
and um
uh
um AB,
Cordell Stewart played wide receiver for a little bit.
yeah, slash.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You had all these different things. You're gonna think about the components. You're gonna mainly think about the defense and who the quarterback was.
And they was and we were amazed because like we talked about, it's like they literally figured out the formula. Like if we keep them around 20 passes, ain't nobody beating us.
Ain't nobody
It's
beat.
like,
And they knew it. That's the thing. They knew it. And you couldn't stop it for the most part.
that was
But
insane.
everybody that left, think about it. How many of them had success once they left? None.
Nope.
You wanted to get out of there because you wanted to be the man and you was tired of somebody else being called the man and you felt like you was being slighted because you wasn't the man. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna be the man, and you ended up being nothing.
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
of you,
Other than AB, and that was because of Tom.
right. And some of you, and let's be real, some of you was out the league before Roethlisberger even got out the league.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. And it's just like, what are we doing it for? What's the point? What is the point? Because you have to make it make sense to me. Why are you doing this? And nobody can make it make sense.
Well, one, the social media world finally gives people a place where they can talk and can't nobody stop them. You ain't got to worry about nobody. There's a chance that it could happen, but the more than likelihood, it's not. Somebody reaching out going, "Hey, shut it down."
See, hold on.
Be
I just found what he said. Hold on. Let me go. Deactivate the earpod. Mm. Let, let me deactivate this so you can hear it. This was his whole take when he came out about this. This is Ryan Clark on his personal.
Like old asses, the former player counseling. I mean, bruh, what is we doing? Damn, tripping, Ben tripping, Joey calling. This ain't even how we live. We freaking love each other. And hey, man, like, hey, I get it. Teammates have different relationships. I mean, Joey was there. Benny was young. Ben had to grow into something else. Joy was one of the best leaders I've been around. But I feel like we're not all sometimes we ain't all perfect. You know, I probably got some teammates and we've had them on the show and coaches on the show who just absolutely love me because of my loyalty and because I'm always there, because I was this and I was that. But then there's probably a lot of them was like, man, that dude was an asshole. Like I told Cam his rookie year, I was like, man, you know, think if he doesn't, no, how wrong was I? He's freaking one of the greatest Steelers of his era. But think about if that's all he knows of me, and he doesn't know that he doesn't get to learn that I'm a good teammate, that I'll be there for him, that I host Bible studies and have trainers come in to work on us and all that stuff. What if he never gets that? Then Cam goes and tells the story that Ryan was a bad teammate, right? And then like, why are we going at Coach T? Like it's over. Like if we want to say these things about him at his heights, why are we dogging him? And then I remember Joey called a player only meeting like my second year, you know, and Bill was super young and we had some conversations. And like, I get it, right? When you feel like a teammate wasn't a great teammate and they say something about somebody you revere, like you tell the world how you felt about him as a teammate. I did it with Tiki Barber. I kind of regret it now, but it was what I did. I'm trying to change from that. So, fellas, to bring our old asses to former player therapy. Do we need to go? Do we need counseling? Do we need to have these conversations? Because we gotta stop, y'all. Not us. Not the Steelers. We got the rings. What are we doing? We're this organization everywhere, at least we were. Now we just old, bitter mother effers that talk about each other. Come on, y'all. Guys.
That's about as best as you can put it. Like you were the standard. Everybody looked at, if you look at the NFL, we looked at the Steelers. The Steelers was the Steelers. The Steeler way, the Patriot way, the Cowboys, and then everybody else kind of fell in between wherever they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can't even hope. We already know the Cowboys is a shit show. The Patriot way looks like it's still there, but we're not for sure if it's still there, if it's rekindling, whatever it's doing. And then the Steelers look like a dumpster fire. I never thought in my wildest dreams when this season ended, I would be talking about the Steelers being more of a dumpster fire than the dumpster fire of the Cleveland Browns.
Well, like they say, whatever's in the dark shall be brought to the light. And
And they
that's
lit this
base
shit
and
ablaze.
that's basically what happened.
And they lit it ablaze. There
They
was,
well, yeah, and you know Joey Porter, that's what he do. You know Joey Porter.
but the problem with that is that Joey Porter, you've been away from that team for so long. Why now? Why?
You give him an opportunity. Matter of fact, did you see that reel that was circling Facebook where I'm surprised a fist didn't get thrown where him and Pac-Man was talking about the game and that whole situation. And Pac-Man was getting real loud. I thought maybe some a fist was gonna fly.
You know how I feel about Pac-Man.
Yeah. I mean but that's what I'm saying. This is like now the worst thing that could have happened to the league is you was able when they was employed, you was able to shut them down. But now social media and the ability to find a podcast.
You
Uh,
have a whole
you
bunch.
ain't shutting you can't shut nobody up no more. You could do it when they were on the national stations. You had the NFL reach out on the download, be like, yeah, don't
This is
be careful what you do. But but but
this is what before we go on that subject,
oh yeah, for sure.
this is what bothers me the most. And it's not just with sports, it's with everything with media. Social media has given platforms for a lot of people who are not media savvy, who do not have communications degrees or certificates, that just likes to hear their mouths run And because they've already are a known face, you got companies that will sit there and will jump behind them because that face is known. So I don't care what they're saying as long as it's not radical enough to turn off my stock investors. We'll help sponsor you in order to keep you going. And none of these people know a goddamn thing about what they're talking about, or they're talking so radical and so sensational and so driven to be the most salacious thing in order to get the clicks and get the views. The only thing that they're not doing that they probably would if they were asked to, if it would get them more clicks, is to strip on stage. Over the past couple of weeks, I've heard everything from this whole situation with the sports thing, to hearing them talk about hearing them starting to besmudge Kobe's legacy and the things that he did during his era, to even in the hip hop world, people that we known didn't had beefs that then been asked to come outside that didn't come outside, getting mad at rappers because they didn't come outside. Oh, I can't listen to them because they didn't, when they got caught up, they didn't come out. Yeah, I'm talking about Fat Joe.
Talk about who?
Fat Joe.
Oh, what did I miss with Fat
Okay,
Joe?
so Fat Joe and Jada have their podcast.
Yes.
Fat Joe, when J. Cole's album, when they started saying that J. Cole's album was coming out, Fat Joe was like, I ain't listening to it. He can't talk like he's one of the top three or anything else like now, no more, because when Kendrick and them called him outside, he ain't come outside. He did all that stuff.
Oh,
And the first thing that came in my mind as a hip hop head is, hmm, how's your situation with Big Pun's wife? How's your situation with Terror Squad? Because I swear Cuban Link said when he sees you, it's on site. But you haven't came outside and addressed none of that.
sometimes when I'll be wondering what's the agenda of the cameraman when I'll be watching his reels. Because if I could just be inside Jada's head, I
Jada,
the look on his face that he be having, and the cameraman immediately zooms in on his face
yes,
every time Fat Joe is talking. And the look on his face, I got questions. I got
because you Jada is like my spirit animal because we're both Geminis. We both can see both sides of the shit all times. And when the face that he gave when he said that, he looked at him and he was like, "You for real?" Like, I don't. People fail. A lot of people fail to realize most of the stuff that they say on these platforms can be gone out and fact checked. We can go do the research. You can sit there all you want to and say he ain't come outside, dude. There's a whole list of stuff. When you with Terror Squad, you with 50 Cent, um, you with Big Pun's wife, that whole list of stuff. Joe Budden's the same way, dude. You can't talk about nobody's stuff being trash when you were not the best rapper in your last squad that you was in.
the funniest thing about Joe Buttons was when I was able to, I can't remember um who was organizing it, but they had a bunch of the battle raps on the internet
Mm-hmm.
and he got smoked. And Royce and Buster did not hold back.
No,
They was like, yeah, 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 you got, yeah. And everybody was laughing. And I'm like, awkward.
The fact of the matter is that Joe Budden, if you sat there and held a gun to somebody's head and said, "Hey, name me a Joe Budden song," everybody gonna say "Pump It Up" because they remember it from "You Got Served."
I actually didn't like that song.
I didn't either.
The only song that I will admit that I liked by him, there was a song called, I can't remember what album it's from, but I used to have it on my run list. I did like that one. And to me, he wasn't bad with Slaughterhouse. But yeah, like you said, he wasn't, he out of all of them that was there, no, he was not. But it's called NBA.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But see,
that
that's not. But NBA never hit mainstream.
right.
That's what I'm saying. If you went and you asked somebody that's in their 40s right now, "Hey, name me a Joe Budden song," they're gonna say, "Hey, yeah, Pump It Up, yeah." That's it. Unless they're an actual hip hop head that actually listens to this stuff. And even then, if it ain't
Oh,
his mixtape stuff,
yeah, I listened to his whole album, and that was the one song I was like, okay, out of everything, this is the one that I want to hear over and over and over. So I
yeah.
had like a little MP3 player, and I had it in my MP3 player as some of my as one of many songs on my for my run list.
But
So,
it just was like it just. I want the players that's out here that's talking on these platforms talk about it from a sense of experience. Talk about it from a sense of knowledge. Don't talk about it from a sense of your arrogance or your lack of hubris.
but
Because
in their opinion, that's what they're doing.
yeah,
And they're doing it unfiltered, which is why they're doing the shows, because they know they can come over there, they can say whatever they want, exactly how they want to say it. And like you said, that's the problem.
and then but then they don't know how to react, or they get defensive, or they ready to fight or yell when somebody comes at them with the facts to back up that they were wrong.
Yeah.
And it never fails. It's sad because a lot of them don't realize you're diminishing your legacy with doing the Shambo Mammy BS that you're doing right now.
All right. We gonna keep it moving. Um, you felt some kind of way when I said that this was gonna be one of the topics we was gonna talk about, so let's talk about it. So, Emmitt Smith is calling out Roger Goodell over the fact that they trying to add an 18th game to the schedule. And you basically said he basically called out what me and you talked about. Matter of fact, I my beat a dead horse. I know I said it to you a bunch of times, and it makes sense. It's like, how you gonna sit up here and scream about safety, but yet you adding games? Like, are you really about safety, or are you about safety as long as it don't interfere with the money? Which is a good question. I mean, with all these changes, just like all the changes to the catching rules, it seemed like you made it more difficult to figure out what a catch was.
Here's where Roger Goodell is going to probably win this battle. And you got to thank college football for this.
Okay.
The playoff.
Yeah, but he was coming up with this before the playoff.
Right. He was trying to push it through, and they was trying to say it didn't make no sense. It didn't make no sense. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? You're trying to do a money grab. But now what you're seeing is that if before the playoff came in, before this version of the playoff came in, the max that a team was playing, if they ran all the way through to the championship, was 15 games, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're at 17, 18 games in college football. And most of the time you're going to be thinking it's going to be your top run teams that's going to be in there doing that until their 17th and 18th game. So all the players that you're looking at to draft to put in your to put into your league, instead of you being worried about them hitting the wall, if you think about it, think about if there was a freshman on Indiana this year.
Okay.
You ran through an 18-game season. You went undefeated. You come back for your second year. If you run it back, you might not win a championship, but you're at 18 games again.
Yeah.
Next year after that, let's say you just make it to the first round. But you make it to the conference championship, everything else. You might be at 14 and 15. Your body is ready for you to take that jump to play a 17-game season, especially with you're probably not going to play too much during preseason. So you're going to be able to stretch your body. You ain't got your body acclimated to it. A lot of the injuries that you saw for a lot of the players that was going on during that time frame when they first jumped for 16, 17 was because most of these players was playing 11 and 12 game seasons and then trying to jump in right after playing that in January, going through everything for the combine, starting to play OTAs in April, May, everything else, and then playing a full 16-game season right off the bat. Their body wasn't ready for it. Now, you're about to have it to where they're going to be almost playing the equivalent of a full season, and that's not including if they expand the playoff, because then what's your excuse then? If they expand the playoff to to 24 or 36, a 36 team tournament, you're going to be at almost 18, 19 games a season. What you going to do? Are you going to cut back the season? They already talking about they need to shift the season out the way so it doesn't run into so the championship is on January 1st, which what it should be. But you've given them, they by proxy have given Roger Goodell the ammunition that he can sit there and say, here's the analytical data from the college players coming up and how their body being going through those rigors in there has started to lessen the amount of injuries that we see from players on their first set of contracts from this. And it makes it to where it's like, hey, now I have this. You guys can sit there and say, oh, we don't care about the injuries or anything else that's going along with it, or you're saying it's not concerned, but they're playing through a full, almost the equivalent of one of our seasons in college, where they have the same set of rules, if not more lax than what we have. And their injuries are not matching up with ours. Prove it to where I'm making it to where they're injury prone. And if we introduce this extra game, that's extra revenue that we can sit there and say, hey, we're gonna split this revenue with you guys in here for it.
There are a lot more players coming in with histories of injury.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's gonna make it interesting.
But yeah, I called that out. Remember, because they went through my argument was because of the fact that, wait a minute, you talking about adding the 18th game, but you got rid of 2 preseason games? That's supposed to train them.
Why did they get rid of the 2 preseason games?
Because the players were complaining that it didn't make any sense to have them.
That was the only reason why they agreed to the 17th game, was to get rid of the preseason game.
Yeah.
During their collective bargaining. And here's the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. Even when we had the 4-game preseason and the 17-week, 16-game season, how many games did the starters actually play in the preseason? They played a drive or 2 in the first game. They played a quarter the second game. They played a half the third game. And if they weren't one of the good teams, then they might have played a couple of drives the last game. But everybody knows that the last game of there is to evaluate the rest of the people that's on the team to see how you're going to fill out your roster. So the 10% that make up most of the salary play the equivalent of maybe 3/5 of a game throughout the entire 4-week preseason, but you're going to complain about adding a full game to it. We're going to take away a game. So now, because now what was the argument that we heard from multiple different teams? Oh, well, we weren't ready at the start of the season. That's why we started out 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, but we starting to hit our stride, and we'll be okay to come back on the back end of it.
Yeah, I'm pumping my fist from my couch again because me and you talked about it in school. Every time I talk to a new person, you heard me say it again. It's like you take away the preseason games that's supposed to be your get ready. Now you
Yo,
got it down to 2 games. The only thing you're doing in those 2 games is evaluating who you got and who you keeping. That's all you doing in them two
and
games.
how can you evaluate your talent if they're not out there playing?
Yeah. And because the way it used to be earlier, now what you're talking about is where is like recent. But when they used to do it, first 2 games, you saw more of free agents, draftees.
Yep.
The last 2 games,
It was the starters ramping up.
you saw more of the starters trying to get them ready for week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yep.
why getting rid of those 2 games didn't make any sense. Although, with the way that they had basically bowed to the players about not wanting to play the preseason games because of wanting to get hurt, they had gotten away from what they used to do. So on the one hand, it makes sense, but on the other hand, it was like if y'all had never changed what was, then who knows where these seasons would be because everybody wouldn't be waiting until week 1, week 2, week 3. Because so now the preseason is in the first few weeks. And y'all supposed to be ready then. Y'all are
What did
supposed to be ready then.
what did New England benefit the most from this season?
Do tell.
Any new hired NFL coach automatically gets an extra set of OTAs to install their platform, install their playbook with their teams than any other squad. And they get to come report to camp earlier. Also, did New England play in the Hall of Fame game? I'm not for sure who played in the Hall of Fame game this year.
Not that I know of, but let's see.
Because you also whoever plays in the Hall of Fame game opens their camp up a week earlier than everybody else. So if you got somebody that's a brand new coach, hi. Yes, he's in the back. Yeah, you go right around him. If you sit there and you think about it, I forgot who was the extra coach, who was the head coaches in there for it. That's one of the rules that they build in order to make sure that the teams can get up to speed faster. Is because they let them coaches get into there faster.
Dude, what?
What?
I keep scrolling up and then it keeps taking the bar and putting it back down at the bottom of the screen.
It was the Detroit Lions and the Chargers.
Oh, okay.
So, but any coach, I know that rule for a fact because they always say they get an extra set of OTAs for all the new coaches because that's when they start installing their playbook before everybody else. So Vrabel got an extra set of OTAs to instill his offense, instill his defense in order to get them on the playbook and establish his set of rules and regulations before everybody else did. And that's how it's going to be this season. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That
Oh,
face.
the Olympics ain't playing.
What?
I know you heard about that fight that happened during the hockey game, right?
No. Today?
No, it was this weekend. Um, I heard about it. I didn't read anything about it till now. Apparently, the France player that started the fight, he is now kicked out the rest of the Olympics.
Hmm.
Wow. Oh, wow. Like I said, dude, I could literally sit here and just keep opening new tabs and it's gonna give me news. I could literally do this all day. I wish I could just do this. I wish I could do it more than I have time to do. I don't know about all day every day,
All
but
right.
because I, got family and stuff, but still, I could literally sit here and just this could be an all day, everyday thing. Just
Yeah.
having stuff to talk about. But here's the thing. We're never gonna like a lot of what goes on, just like at your regular job, just like dealing with your family, just like being in relationships. You're not gonna like a lot of the stuff that wants to be done at the end of the day. That's just the way it is. And at the end of the day, you do the best you can to try to work through it. Does he have a point? Of course he does. And that's what I want my platform to be for. I can hear what somebody has to say, and even if I disagree, I can at least understand where they're coming from and why they're saying what they're saying, which in this case, I don't disagree with what Emma said because I was screaming it. Our details were just different.
It,
Actually, no. No, actually, no. Mine was about safety too, because it doesn't make any sense. Not only because of the agreement that they made with the players, hey, you can add this extra week if you get rid of the
Think
two of the games, but then you sit up here screaming safety and you're doing all this safety stuff, then why are you at trying to add extra games? Why are you trying to add extra stuff to the playoffs? Remember, it's about player safety. Which I can't wait till we get to the NBA because I've been hearing something and I keep forgetting to talk about it. So let's get through this Sean Payton situation and get right to NBA stuff. So how do you feel? Because this actually affects college too. How do you feel? Sean Payton came out and was quoted by I got this off of US Today Touchdown Wire.
uh-huh.
Um, John Heath, Broncos
Yeah.
Wire. Basically, Sean Payton said he does not. Um, he's cool with coaches getting opportunities, but it's like, yeah, why are they getting opportunities while we're trying to win in the playoffs? What are we doing? Um, he gets that it's a part of the process. He understands it. He still don't like it.
Hypocritical
How so?
because wasn't that how he got his job in New Orleans?
Fair.
At the end of the day, when it comes to and I've said my piece when it comes to college football, and it's the same as the NFL, but the NFL does have some type of structure.
Right.
If you are in the playoffs on your off day from being in the playoffs, the rule states that you have to announce that you're scheduled to go and interview for any type of coaching job during that time frame. That way,
Right.
your team knows and the press knows and the public knows what's going on to be in full transparency. Now,
Yeah. But I can see where he's coming from. It's like, wait, if I'm in the playoffs, the only time I got a day off is if my team's kicked out.
Right. But
So
the problem with
I see where he's coming from.
I see where he's coming from when he comes and says that, but again, hypocritical. When you had your opportunity come up for you to leave, you took that interview in there. You were announced before the season was before your team playoff run was over that you was taking over for that. So you can't sit there and say it because now it's affecting you. It's you are the head honcho. Now it's affecting you. What that shows is that your organizational control is not as strong as you think that it is. For your coaches not to sit there and say, okay, I'm about to take this interview and then I'm about to go over here and then I'm still locked in with what I'm doing here because you can't take the job until after you are officially eliminated from the playoffs. And most of the time when you take that interview, you're taking that interview to talk with them, show them what your ideas and stuff is for their, and then the contract part of it, your agent is working out with the other team, not you. So if you can't divvy out your focus from you being able to get your own head coaching job and you on a Super Bowl run, that's a you factor. That's not on the head coach because he is worried about everything else that's in there. But if that in his mind, if he has to sit there, if I gotta worry about you and your focus with because you're this good to where you're getting opportunities to become you're getting opportunities to become a part of my legacy tree in there. If I can't sit there and say it with a straight, if I can't trust you in order to be able to do your job and handle the interviews, what if you don't get that job? Now I'm gonna be questioning: can you handle the pressure of doing that? If the next chance comes up, am I gonna be worried about you the next time or the
and
next
and
time?
what you just panned out is one that's exactly what his issue is because we are so how many people can actually multitask like that and you have to seriously I I get where you're coming from. I need to know you 100% dialed in. I get that you want another opportunity. You want to be where I'm at. But what I also got to know is when you in the moment, I need to know that you're here. This is where we are.
And
You're a part of the team. I need to know that you're here.
right. And then that if I have to question that about you, I don't need you with the team. Because at the end of the day, and you know me, I'm transparent as hell.
Mm-hmm.
In the calendar year 2025, with me working at my first job and at here, I've been on 7 different job interviews where I done took day off, did what I needed to do, was on or off day or whatever else I had, went into a job interview. Sometimes took 2 in there. Did it affect what I was doing at either one of the jobs? No. They wouldn't have known if I would have told until I told them. Because at the end of the day, the discipline is there to where, yes, I'm gonna go do this for here. I'm not saying anything, and that's been my track record from any job that I've been at. I'm not saying anything until I know in stone what's going on. If it's just a chance, it's just a conversation. It's just a conversation. When that conversation is over, it's back to what my focus was in, and hit my deliverables for that, or hit my deliverables here as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But in between that juggle, they don't suspect, and they wouldn't miss a beat off of anything of it because it don't change. But if it's something to where I'm sitting up here, I'm looking at you and I'm looking at you fumble through the playbook that you done had for 17 regular season games and you can't figure out what you want to call play. But I know in the back of my head, you just came off of an interview to where some of those plays, you might have changed the names of it. So you didn't give a unfair advantage to the other team about some of the plays that we call over here to make it work. Then it's like, what? Then I can see that. Now I'm like, okay, where's your focus? Is it done? What? That's a quick conversation. What did they say? Okay, you're done with that right now. lock in. If I can't trust you to lock in, I'll sit you to the side. What happened with Ohio State? With Hartline? Think about that situation. Hartline had already took the job for there, but Hartline wanted to be in there. Ryan Day didn't trust that he could probably focus across there for it, so he took the play calling duty. On the flip side of it, Oregon had both their OC and their DC lead. Ole Miss had all their team except for their DC was already signed on to go over to LSU. What did they end up doing? They ended up making their runs. Because I didn't sign on the dotted line to be here, but I asked to stay here and see us through to our goal to its finality for this season.
Do you think if I'll ask this question and then we'll move on. Do you think that if more of the coaches had been allowed to stay, that they might have done better?
Cool.
Ole Miss.
No, no. Ole Miss did not win because Miami, their defense was tired by the time that game got there. They got to that end of that last drive. That's the only reason why Ole Miss lost. If anything, I'm prouder of what Ole Miss did than what Miami and Indiana did. Because Ole Miss was dealing with this before the playoffs started and still worked their way to where they got to this point. So to that point, to that semifinal. So I can't knock them for that. Yeah, Miami got in by the hair of their chinny chin chin. They did what they needed to do, and they showed up and showed out when they got into the playoff until they got to against Indiana. Indiana showed what they are who they said they was. They ran through everybody. But Ole Miss, when I had the big blow up about Benedict going over from Ole Miss over to LSU and all that whole swirl with that, Ole Miss could have folded up tent and everything else. I think one of the biggest testimonies to Ole Miss's culture and what they're doing is how hard Chambliss is fighting to come back and play another season with that squad. And they granted him his ability. They granted him the injunction in order for him to be able to come back for his thing. And the crazy part about it was the same day as that, they posted a video. Him and Jackson Dart was at a bar riding mechanical bulls on campus.
They talked about that today and questioned whether or not he should have been doing that.
Man, they kids. I understand it. They're kids. They're kids.
But as soon as he get injured,
right. But at the end of the day, this is one of the things that ties into the subject we had before with the NIL and the investments and everything else like that. We're taking away the childhood and the fun and the college fun that students are having because grown-ass people are placing gambling bets with their money on these players.
Well, it ain't just that no more. It ain't just that no more. It's something else.
What? Right. It's still a gamble. It's still a gamble. Because here's the reason why. How many players have we seen to where they didn't got the money for the NIL for doing this because they were the next big thing, and then they didn't pan out?
Yes.
So you're gambling your money on a possibility that may not pay you back. And you're taking away because you're being an adult and you're gambling on kids.
Yeah, but I disagree with that last part.
Why?
Because the one thing that we know, when kids get away from their parents, they want to do adult things. Right. So whether they was getting paid or not, they were gonna be doing adult things, and they also gonna be doing not smart things. I'll run this quick story, then we're gonna get to NBA stuff. So I worked for about a month at got God, what's the name of that dorm? Um, can't
What
remember
camp?
what the name of the dorm is, but I was working through a temp service at UC janitorial third shift.
Calhoun?
Yes, that's the
How'd I
one.
know? How'd I know?
That's the one. So I'm seeing all kinds of stuff because
Uh-huh.
I brought my little radio and I'm playing any and all kind of music. I wasn't, you know me, I wasn't just playing hip hop, I was playing everything.
Hmm.
And so I got some quote unquote some I got cool with people. So one day I'm going to break and I had apparently missed out on something. I
Hmm.
come I come check the bathroom, see what it looked like, and I see this phone book on the floor, and I'm like, that's weird. And when I pick it up, it's got a square hole cut in it. I'm like, that's weird. I throw it in the garbage. I go, have my break. I get back. I start walking toward the bathroom stalls, and I'm seeing little drops of excrement leading to a stall. And I'm like, what the? They didn't make it? What are they doing? I go down, I tell the lady, I said, look, no offense. I draw the line at cleaning up excrement after people.
Mm.
So I will finish out I'll give you I'll finish out the week, but now I'm done. Fast forward. I come in the next night. I found out what actually happened. The phone book that I picked up,
Hmm.
that's what it was in. Apparently, what I had missed was somebody decided to play a prank. They cut a square hole in the phone book, took a crap in it, sat it, because you know how the bathroom stalls were, right? With the four
Hmm.
entryways and
Yeah.
the two sides and everything, and the shower side and the bathroom side. Anyway, they took the book and they set it up on the edge of that wall that had sinks on both sides. What the prankster didn't count on was that some dude was gonna come through, was
And
gonna
clean
cut
up.
through, arguing with his girl, got mad, swiped at the phone book. Because I was somewhere else cleaning something else, probably cleaning the hallways, cleaning the hallway floors, I missed out on that part.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the money only made the situation worse. Kids gonna do kids things. I had girls that would sit up there, they be in a dorm, they be outnumbered in a small dorm room, trying to hide the fact that they smoking weed. I'm sitting up here, a dust mopping the floor. I smell it. But this particular night, there was like two girls, and I know there was at least five guys in that room. They were definitely outnumbered. Like I said, the bathroom has four entryways. They decide they was gonna come in to use the bathroom. They see me and go, let's just wait till we get upstairs. I'm like, wait a minute, let me get straight. You were in a situation where you were smoking weed. I believe they was drinking too. Outnumbered 5-2, at least 5-2. And you worried about one dude in a bathroom with four exits. Okay, whatever. All right,
It,
whatever.
it, the great,
But you see what I'm saying? The
yeah.
bottom
So,
line is they was doing the adulting stuff before they were handed
oh
the
yeah, and I'm not knocking that. I'm not. And see, that's the thing. That's the thing because just like you have your story, the
yeah.
one thing with my child going away to school, one of the things that my mom brought out on me was my mom still has the bill from Marycrest Hall, University of Dayton, sixth floor, for all of the infractions and damages that we caused in 1 month. And my daughter, but my mom sits there and she shows it to my daughter, and she sits there and says, your father, when he went up there and his friends, because I was on the engineering floor.
Wow.
We had one of our fines alone was for 3,470 something dollars,
Good God.
because we was trying to figure out which would go through the piping faster, a bottle rocket, a firecracker, or a M80.
Dude.
Now, remind you, like I'm saying, we got football engineering students, we got international engineering students, we got full ride engineering students,
Oh my
all on
God.
this floor. We racked up on our wing. We racked up in an entire school year, maybe about $12,000 worth of fines.
Wow.
But we were having fun as kids. We didn't care. We was doing what we needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were having fun. The reason why I said it to where it's a gamble is because these kids have never been away from their parents. They've never been outside of the household. They've never been away from their AAU coach. And you're putting them on a college campus and you're sitting up here saying, I'm investing X amount of dollars in you. You have to do everything right in order to make good on the investment that I'm making on you. And you're putting them in a situation where they have no rules except for the rules that's been governed to them. So if you sit up there, you put a kid, there's a difference between putting a kid in the middle of a candy store with $10 and saying, get what you can out of this $10, and giving them $1,000 and saying, get what you can out of it, and hope you don't put them in a sugar coma to where they can't function and do what they're supposed to be doing with the reason why they paid you that money. It's a gamble.
Yeah.
When you putting it on these kids, some of these kids are built that way. Some of these kids can handle that responsibility. But what you're going to start seeing is a lot of them are not. And when they get there, if they want to have fun, if they want to be in the middle of a mechanical bull with a whole bunch of the styrofoam stuff around there and they got it on the lowest setting floor, my God, let them have fun. But if they
Yeah.
sit up here, there's a difference between having fun like that and then being one of the Alabama or LSU players that want to be doing 175 miles an hour in a Hellcat with their head out the fucking window.
Or getting caught up like was that a high school or was that the college kids that got that no the Georgia kids that got busted down in Florida
Yeah,
shoplifting?
yeah.
Uh,
Why are
uh,
you shoplifting? You're shoplifting stuff to where your NIL money should have been enough for you to be able to get there. Okay. Yeah.
and and I mean and and that's the thing that always rings true with these stories though. It's like I don't know why everybody needs to get out of their head. Money don't make you smarter.
No, if anything, it makes you dumber.
Right.
Look at Valentine's Day. So many people is dumb because they ain't getting nothing spent on them this weekend.
I ain't even plugged up.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
So I mean
What the hell?
I
It was just on.
so that yeah, Valentine's Day. That was the day I worked hard and I came home. Um uh
That's cool.
to anybody that there now plenty of my Facebook friends, they had fun and they advertised their love. And all of that nice stuff. And I found out from wrestling that there's apparently a day called Galentine's Day for the ladies.
No, it's Valentine's Day. They just lame. There you go. Mhm.
You can't call Charlotte Flair lame. She is the daughter of Ric Flair. Woo! But anyway,
Lame.
let's move over to the NBA. Do
Look
you
for it.
believe, do you believe that Adam Silver um was right for this? We'll start with this question on this because the subject is he is doing what he can to come down on tanking. He's been from his vantage point,
Oh
um,
my God.
huh?
Oh my God. He's going to try to fix tanking.
I don't think here's the problem with trying to fix anything. The human brain. You add the fact that you're dealing with businessmen on top of it,
Yep.
and it it makes it even worse. Human nature, you make a rule, humans, instead of figuring out, not all of us, but a good number of us, there are jails and prisons for a reason. That's all I'm saying. You make a rule, humans gonna figure out how to get around it.
Oh yeah.
And that's why they've been making all these rules. They were talking about it the other day. It's like, well, they've made so many rules on tanking, and yet they still keep getting broken because because people will look for the loophole.
But
Is
see,
is we claim we live in this world of supposed to be morality. The reality is the we have more morality to an extent, and depending on the person depends on what extent it is. At the end
mhm.
of the day, there's a rule. We'll figure out a way. We're going to try to figure out a way to circumvent it if we really, really, really want to. And unfortunately, a good number of us, depending on the subject matter and what we shooting for, we going to want to. It is what it is. And
It's
you're never going to be able to break it. Although I think I came up with one rule that might help it. Now, since they are tanking to get the higher pick, right?
but see, that's the whole point of the lottery. The lottery was made to where you got your chances increased by you having the worst record. But if everybody's tanking, it's not gonna be certain that you get the right amount of picks. Plus, a lot of them then traded their picks.
Yeah.
So the
Now, my question is what if you, for every time they're caught tanking, you lower their amount, you lower them in the lottery, or you just lower them on the picks, or you do both. You lower their chances of getting of having a high chance of getting a high pick in the lottery, and you lower them in the actual draft.
the only problem that you're gonna have with that is that more than likely, if a team gets accused of doing any type of tanking or losing on purpose for that, they're going to take it to court. They're going to take it to arbitration because they're going to sit there and say you're going to have to prove that my players are not playing up to their ability at that point to constitute calling it tanking. And the NBA is going to have concrete proof that they're showing that this players, and they can't just go by what their normal scoring average versus what they're playing in there is with that. So it's going to become a very, very messy slope if they try to go down that route and try to say, well, because they're tanking, then we're going to take away the picks, because then they're going to sit there and they're going to get that fault, and that might end up pushing out even the factors of the the NBA draft, because of said tanking and everything else that comes along with it. And you got to remember, the draft is like the week after the finals end. So it's
Right.
not that much of a wiggle room for you to be able to push out, do anything else with it, to fight any type of legal battles that you have when it comes to that, even if you try to expedite it through the system. Now,
Right.
the other part of it that is interesting when it comes to tanking is that this is not something that has not been going on since the lottery started. You started the lottery in order to stop it under Stern.
Right.
And how many teams, who I forgot, who was it that tanked so hard last year and they didn't even get the first? Everybody was tanking for Cooper Flag. And what happened? Somebody put some icy hot or something on the end of the envelope where the Dallas Mavericks was, and allowed them to be able to pick that Dallas was going to be the number one pick, because they had to give them some type of mulligan from how they screwed up the Luka trade. And that's not the first time that the team that came out after a stupid ass trade or move ended up getting the first round draft pick after the fact. Think about Cleveland with LeBron.
Cleveland, Philly.
Dallas.
I remember Philly got people was calling out the
All right.
NBA because Philly kept multiple times kept getting the
Right.
number one pick,
Right.
and
But that's
then
what I'm saying. So
Cleveland turned
there's
around and did it.
and I heard something today that they said was going to be a way for them to fix it, that I laughed, because if they do it, you might as well start chalking up the Lakers to being the champions on another dang on dynasty run. The Lakers in Boston.
What's that?
Abolish the draft and have all rookies that's eligible come in as free agents.
Yeah, I heard that.
Because here's the thing: if you would have did this 5 years ago, I would say it would have been a free game. But you have the same owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers as the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. Do you
Yeah.
think he's going to care about any type of luxury cap, second cap, anything else? No. He's going to worry about what can I put forth on that court to make myself the best team possible. If that means I'm in the cap, I'm paying the tax, I'm paying the second apron, I'll create a third apron.
The ones that bought Boston care.
Yeah, they care. But that's why I said 5 years ago. 5 years ago, they didn't. They was wanting to spend. Now they care. So Boston would fall off. But the Lakers, it would become an arms race. And that's not what the NBA is for. If the NBA has done anything right with how they've adjusted with the salary cap and the second apron and everything else like that, they've created the parity that everybody has wanted after they got tired of seeing the Warriors and the Cavs in the finals every single freaking year. So there's no clear-cut way to fix the tanking. The only thing that you can sit there and say without a shadow of a doubt is that if we can even have any semblance that you're tanking, or you're not doing what you're supposed to do when it comes to your gameplay, your gameplay, holding out your starters, and the teams have already started to look at ways to circumvent it. Come on now. How in the world did you go a whole season and then all of a sudden say that somebody got to go out for the whole season because of their hand? You got teams that are benching their star players that they know is coming up for free agency, that they know is going to be coming off the books, and they're putting them on IR because they're saying that they got hurt. This is hurt. This is hurt. This is hurt. Who was that? Triple J, they got traded from Memphis to Utah. He's on the shelf for the entire rest of the season because of a growth on his knee. So Dallas, last time I checked, can't they void a trade because of an injury that wasn't disclosed before the trade happened? Because I could have swore that's exactly what happened with Mike Williams with the Lakers last year.
Yeah.
So you mean tell me that Utah can't go back and say, nah, you know what? You sold us damaged goods. We want to avoid this trade. Nope. Utah said, nope, we're going to IR him. We're going to keep him. Why? Because Utah knows either A, they're going to resign him in the offseason and they want to be 100%, but they want to get their best possible pick to go with them. Or two, they're trying to get his value up for him to hit free agency or be able to be a tradable asset in the offseason in order to do that. Same thing with AD. Same thing with if Boston wasn't number 2 in the East right now, but you think Boston would be telling Tatum, yeah, it's okay if you want to come back.
They did tell him not to rush it though.
They told him not to rush it because they still at number 2. But if they still see that Detroit is in chasing range and he's coming back and he's playing, can come in hot because he's already playing with a G League team. You
Yeah.
don't think that they're going to take him in and say, let's go run and go take the East? Nobody expected Boston to be in the top 3 in the East with that. With him
Especially
being
not
out.
not after they saw what happened in with Indiana, although the yeah. But
That's what I'm saying. It's tanking. We've seen tanking in every single sport that we watch.
and it's never going to stop.
It's never going to stop. There's no way. You can't stop it. You can only try to contain it. And trying it is very, very hard to do.
Yeah, because
So,
again, whatever rules you make, the brains of the humans are going to get together and figure out how they can circumvent it.
right. And that's what makes it to where it's like, okay, so what do we do? Where are we going with it? Because at the end of the day, now I can't sit there and bank on the fact I'm going to be able to make it work.
And I
I
feel
can't
sorry
make
for
it.
the fans that is happening to, because it's like, are are the are y'all blaming the wrong people? Is it really the refs that are to
No.
blame for stuff, or is it the teams themselves? Which to some extent, I would say it's the teams themselves, because I'm sorry, the level of lack of, in my opinion, discipline to not put yourself in the position to get a call called on you. It's a little harder with basketball, but football, well, no, it's harder in football too, just because of the fact that once upon a time, a lot more contact used to be allowed. So, but where's your ability to adapt? Now, you do have some players that are good at adapting and doing just enough not to get called, knowing the rules enough, doing just enough to not get called, always putting themselves in the position, making sure that they turn their head. Uh-oh, somebody bleeding. Um,
Hockey?
I'm watching the SC State and Coppin State game, and
Uh,
they bring in like stuff out on the floor to clean up blood.
mm.
Um, yeah, they bring in like little disc.
Oh my God. Are you serious? Why? Why, Chris? Why? Why? Why would you even say that?
Who? Huh? Chris?
Jones.
Chris Jones. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Tell me what you got to say about Chris Jones, because I just remembered. Yeah, yeah,
He
mm.
just posted up, I guess he posted up something about Tariq coming home.
Man, that's desperate. That's pure desperation. Well, no,
Baby, I'm sorry. I left you and I told you the other bitch was better and she wasn't better.
no,
I want to come home. Can I come home,
no,
baby?
and and, and I'm
Let me love
no,
you like I
I
need to love you. Oh my God. Come
you
on, baby.
you.
Come here, baby. I want to come home, baby.
My
Come
question
here.
is
I want
this:
to come home. Can I
does
come home?
Mahomes turn into Jalen if they bring him back?
Boy, does he ever. Hey, do it. I want to do it. Do it. Yeah, do it. Do it. Do
I
it.
gotta ask that
Do it.
question.
Do it.
I
Do it.
gotta ask that
Do it.
question. Does Jay? Because I'm sorry if I'm the front office and I'm Beach. You better remember what he said.
Exactly.
He
You coming in
played.
here on the lowest possible. You coming in here on $500,000 a year contract.
I mean, I actually wanted to talk about real quick on some possible places to go, and I was gonna say if I was KC, don't you dare.
I would take AJ over Tariq.
Right. But
I'm
they
talking
don't
about at
need
KC.
and they don't but they don't need him either.
No,
If they can't fix their offensive line, it don't matter who they have.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not
Now they
Tariq
got a bunch of
Hill.
world beaters. Now you got to have the offensive line so that you can properly use them the way that they can be used. Now, would I get rid of one or two of them? Yeah.
Tariq Hill's going to be a Raider.
He could be a Raider.
He's going to be a Raider.
Um uh he could be a Raider. He
He
could
can't go
be
anywhere. He can't go any place where he's structure.
well then
Tariq
he
Hill
can't
is this generation's AB.
well then he can't go back to KC.
Exactly. I'm not. That's why I said that. Why he can't. He
To
ran
me,
away from the structure to go home to Miami. That's all it was. You went. That is the worst case scenario. You have players that will thrive because they are family men going home and playing for their home team, and you know that there are certain cities that is your home city that you should not go home to go play in because all
yeah,
you're gonna do is get into all the F shit that you have done while you there in the off season through the season. And what did he prove through the season? There was more headlines about Tariq Hill off the field than it was on the field on the back half of that
and
stint
in
in
the
Miami.
locker room. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be, it's not going to work. It's never going to work. I don't understand why players just can't accept the fact of the wide receiver. I thought about this and I was going to bring this up as a subject. It's no better time than now.
Hmm.
I think we're about to go through an era of the flip flop of what it was. You're going to start seeing to where running backs are going to start getting a little bit more tread into 30, 31, 32, as long as they're producing. But the fuse on the wide receivers and the divaism in the wide receivers is going to become much shorter
Yeah.
because there's too many wide receivers that are out there that are coming through the draft every single year to make it to where we don't have to put up with your antics if we don't want to. We can draft your replacement and they can plug and play, especially if they're coming out of one of these wide receiver factories that have been built, the USCs, the Ohio States, the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Georgias, any of those wide receiver factories that's there, and the other ones that are, and shoot, Oregon's turning into one. Now you got
Occasionally Michigan.
occasionally Michigan, Indiana might turn into one of them. You got, and then you'll have one offs at all different places of it. You cannot sit there. Wide receivers, for as much as they want to be the divas, they are the most expendable because at the end of the day, you can be replaced by a rookie and keep my salary cap low unless you are an all pro or multiple time all pro, all world talent, no, I'm not going to sit there and invest in you like that to keep you in there. No.
Yeah. So, real quick, where do you think AJ Green, AJ Brown, and Tariq shit are gonna end up? You said Tariq's gonna end up a Raider.
I think Tariq's
Do
going to end up with a Raider. AJ Brown,
They had some suggestions. I had it pulled up. I don't know where it went. I must have accidentally deleted it. But one of the places that they're thinking, why I don't know why they thinking about sending all these diva wide receivers to Buffalo. And it's like the only way that they are going to get a veteran wide receiver is if, let's just say that uh Tariq does go back to KC. They're gonna have to they're gonna have to
so
get rid of some people.
here's the thing. A lot of people, this is okay. When it comes down to free agency, when free agency hits in a month, the free agency starts, I want to say, I think it's March 12th. When free agency starts, the problem that a lot of these players are going to have that we're starting to see to hit the free agent market is the people that got the money don't need the players. These high caliber players. If you look at the people with the high end salary caps available for next season, I'll pull it up. I already know Tariq Hill. The biggest problem with Tariq Hill is that Tariq Hill is going to have a workout either at the combine or with somebody in college and everything with it, probably with Miami, to show that he is a full go after that injury. If you can't show that you still are the cheetah, what good are you going to be? Because at your peak, I could get you, and you could be my punt returner, my kick returner with the new rules, and my wide receiver. But because everything that's been going on, we don't know for sure what you're gonna be. We can't tell.
So Tennessee could probably use them. Las Vegas could use them.
But again, this is what the problem that I have with those is the same thing that I've said before.
The Jets in Washington. Basically the top five people with the highest cap space, they could all use Tariq.
So, okay, they all could use Tariq. But now think about what you're doing when you say that. The Raiders, the reason why I said the Raiders was probably the best fit was because if he shows that he can do what he if he can come back to how he was pre that last season in Miami
Mm-hmm.
and be able to do anything, it's with Kubiak taking his scheme to the Raiders, he would fit in that JSN role. So he can slot right into it. But he's got to show that he's still as mobile. Because if you could think of how Jackson Smith and Jigba was last season, where he led the league and put him in a faster mode with Tariq, if Tariq still can maintain that speed, that's ugly. With the rookie quarterback, that would be something that's ugly with that. The Jets, no.
They need a quarterback first.
Right. That's one.
But he could be there. Him and Garrett.
But again, the fact of the matter with that
Actually, no, that wouldn't work because if Garrett Wilson's not getting the ball,
right. That's
oh,
exact. There's your headache.
jeez.
Tennessee, yes, Tennessee needs a wide receiver. But do you want The problem with Tennessee with a wide receiver is that if you're a head coach, it might work. You know what? That might actually work. And the reason why is that if it would have been a first time head coach bringing in a all pro wide receiver, that would be automatic heads clashing. I don't think Salah would take his mess, and that's something that might be good for him to do it. Now, the problem with Salah though was that Salah, when he was with the Jets, wanted to be a player's coach, and that's what kind of made it to where it was bad. So if Tariq comes in there and then they start getting buddy in there for it,
I definitely want to see what goes down outside. I want to see what Salah can do outside of the Jets.
yeah,
I
I do too because he
that
showed.
that that situation that situation with the Jets, I question exactly how much power he had. What power he had basically. But
And
all
then the
right,
Steelers,
let's
and then the Steelers, no, that's not.
the
No.
the Steelers
Ooh.
should get somebody. Who who
Ooh.
who should they get? Should they get AJ Brown or should they get Tariq?
AJ Brown and AJ. If you get AJ Brown, you got AJ Brown, DJ Metcalf. You got the exact same wide receiver. You have prototypically the exact same wide receiver. A go route, throw it up there and let them fight and go get it. That means you would have to be
But
primarily a running offense.
but he has shown more than DK. He has shown that to get him the ball, he can run the other routes. So my question is this: if he gets somewhere
You still
where
need a quarterback to get him the ball.
right, and that would be the question of is it gonna be Aaron? Is Derek Carr gonna officially come out of retirement? Um, are they gonna see what they can do with Will Howard, and will Will Howard be able to get the ball to them? Will they fix their offensive line to help Will Howard and the run game in order for him to get the ball to DK and Fryermuth and and AJ Brown if AJ Brown went there?
Ooh, this is a dark horse,
What's
and I
up?
can see it work. You know who
What's
has
up?
the you know who has I'm on NFL.com, the fifth, no, the fourth best ranked. No, they are fifth best ranked, like combination of salary cap, draft capital, and everything else in the league is for next season.
No.
The Rams.
Who?
The Rams.
So
Could you picture Tariq with Puka?
where's Devontae going?
Devontae still be there too. Puka be
No, ain't no way. Ain't no way.
if this is Stafford's last shot,
Ain't no way that's gonna work.
why?
Because is Tariq gonna take a back seat?
You're coming off an injury. You gonna have to. You compound fractured your leg.
What do you honestly believe? We always get caught up in this thing where you go on what should be and I go on what's more likely. You know how
I'm
we
not
get
saying
this
it's
in this
I'm not saying
conversation.
it's likely. I'm not saying it's like if I had to give it a percentage, I would give it a 5% chance.
You would have a better chance putting him in Pittsburgh with DK
Oh yeah, yeah.
because at least he would have a starting spot. That,
But but
now,
just think of
or maybe if you put him in Dallas, got rid of Pickens, put him in Dallas on the other side, as long as he ain't taking a back seat and becoming a rookie pro, which is what he would have to do in that situation, because you forget all the tight ends that they got, so he might fall even
but that's
farther
what I'm saying.
down.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're Tariq Hill right now, right, and I'm just throwing this out as a hypothetical, because I don't believe it, but I just saw it, and when I saw it, I thought about if you told me close your eyes and picture an offense that had Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, uh, forgot what their tight end was. Shoot. Shoot, I can click on their team roster. Come on, show me their roster. Bring it up. Come on, you can do it, computer. You
Is it
work.
Ferguson?
No,
Because I know Higby stay hurt a lot.
they got Allen, Ferguson,
Yeah.
Higby, but I thought they had another one. Kobe Parkinson. That's the other one. So you got Parkinson and Higby and Parkinson, Higby. So you got at least 3 tight ends.
No, that's not gonna work. You gotta send him where there's room.
But didn't that realistically sound like Kansas City and they
Well,
hate it?
yeah. If I pull out my Madden game, yeah, that sounds great.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. At this point, he's not, let's be real. He's not going to get the money that he wants to. Because again, you're coming off of
He
a
needs to
bad fracture.
he needs to go somewhere where there's a spot and rebuild his reputation.
But they're saying that there's a need for a wide receiver for the Rams. That's why I'm like, why? I don't even get why they're saying it's a need for a wide receiver with the Rams, but I'm thinking it's their third wideout.
No, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, and he's not going to take a back seat. It's moot because I don't think he's going to take a back seat, and he's going to have to take a back seat and understand that he's hardly going to touch the ball.
But you can't, with Stafford throwing the ball, everybody touches the ball.
Yeah, but there's already more than enough receivers there. I get it that Parkinson's needs more time, but that's part of the reason why he can't come up because it's too many people that's already there.
I'm pulling up the depth
He
chart
needs
now.
to he needs to get
Oh
used.
shit, dude! No, there's not too many wide receivers there. They only got 5 under contract right now.
I know, but I'm talking about people that he actually uses. We know he uses Puka. We know he uses Devontae. We know when Higby can stay healthy, he's getting used. We
Higby's
know
not the number one.
Ferguson gets used. We know.
Higby's a free agent. That's what he's not even on the depth chart.
Okay,
So they got
so that's one
Parkinson,
short. That's
but
still
but
it's too many. You sticking him somewhere where drama's gonna come.
but hear
You
me out.
sticking him somewhere where drama's gonna come.
Hear me out. Hear me
And
out.
instead of
And
sticking him somewhere where drama's gonna come, stick him somewhere where he will help and
I don't
where he will get what he wants and he will be vital.
the only reason why I'm saying it might work. The only reason why, if your starting lineup is
Then there's somebody got to go.
you got your third wide receiver in your offense, your starting offense is a 3 wide out, 1 tight end, 1 running back set. Your third wideout is either
You
Jordan Whittington or Xavier Smith
So you
as a
actually
starter.
think you actually think his ego is going
You
to
that's
take a
that's the
back
thing.
seat?
Your ego cannot be involved when you're
And
coming off of
but
that
you
injury.
but we not talking about what would make you trying to talk about what makes
I'm
sense.
not
But
trying,
I'm talking about actual human reality.
and that's why when I first said the Raiders, That's why the Raiders came into my head in the first place, was because his ego is going to push him to where he wants to be the man. But the problem with that is that the Raiders are not going to even take a flyer on you if you can't prove that you're not the man. You can't, you have got, nobody has seen you run
Why would
or
the
anything.
Rams even want him in the building?
I said it was a hypothetical.
But still,
I
it's
said
like
it
I
was a
don't even
hypothetical,
understand why that's a
but
hypothetical.
because at the
It's
end of
like
the day, like I said,
the
this
Raiders
this will be
need, I mean, the Rams needs wide receiver is not it. Even with Higbee becoming a free agent,
it's that's
the
one
Rams is not it.
their depth chart is horrible. Realistically, on if you look at the Rams depth
Has
chart
that
on the
stopped
league,
them?
no, but that's what I'm saying it from the standpoint of if you're going out, if Stafford just came out and said this is it, and you want to put all your bullets in the barrel that you can get in there for it, and you
And
got
you
somebody
go
that
and
can go
find the most unlikely person to put in there?
as a slot, as playing as a slot, which he's done before, where he can catch underneath and break long pass, break long runs off of it if he can prove it.
And be okay with the fact that there's going to be a lot of time that he's not getting the ball.
I would take
Because
him
if you
in that
put him out there,
I would take him in that
that's gonna
situation before I
put
would take AJ.
that's gonna put Devontae and Puka in one-on-ones.
Exactly. It you make that make sense. You can't cover everybody. And
Right.
you
You
would get
can't
points.
cover everybody,
They
but
would
then you
turn
got that
into
other part.
they would turn
What you
into the
gonna do when
greatest
he
show
on the
on
team and he's
turf
not getting the
again.
ball?
They would turn into the greatest show on turf again. They instantly.
What are you gonna do when he's not always getting the ball? Because
If they
Puka
win a
is his
championship,
guy.
it's not going to
Devontae
matter.
is his guy.
If they win a championship, it's not going to matter. You have to think about
Tell
it.
that to AJ Brown.
Right. And that's why I said I would take him in there. At least Tariq wants to win. Tariq has said that he wanted to
But
win.
his whole ego is the is it may not
Exactly.
have been the complete reason. It was damn sure part of it.
Right. But the biggest part of that was Kansas City didn't want him because they thought that they couldn't going to be able to pay for him, and they tried to go
Paying
cheap.
him and the ego. The ego came out as soon as he went to Miami because
Right.
everybody was confused. The, the reason why they ain't trying to pay you if your ego and his ego showed he wasn't out there good, and he gets down there and goes, "Well, I got the best quarterback that I've ever."
Exactly. And his whole ego got shoved right back up his ass with the best quarterback that he had, because you got to remember, he
And how
backed up
many
that
times
talk
did he
that first
steal?
season. He backed up that talk that first season when he led the league in receptions and reception yards that first year. And then what? Tua got his cranium cracked. They started to regress, and he had to eat crow. Plus
And
all
that
his other
attitude
offense.
came out. Then the attitude came out again.
Yeah.
And he was all over social media. One minute he was on social media, next second he was apologizing. And then he was saying, "I'm gonna be a better leader." Next minute he was back on social media. And then the next thing you knew he got hurt.
So at
No,
this point, right,
don't mess up the nucleus that they got going on with the Rams. No.
weirdest shit has
No.
happened.
No.
I'm just gonna
No,
put
no,
that as a
no, no,
feather
no.
in my cap because
No, no,
we're
no, no, no,
I
no, no, no,
so
no. No, no, no.
okay, gut.
KC
He's
better not do
gut,
it.
gut, gut. He's telling you no. He's telling you no, it's not gonna happen. What? Yes, I know weirder shit has happened, but I feel him on that. Your brain part of you is telling you no, it's not gonna happen. But when you I know, okay, we agree. No,
Wait,
don't make myself upset if it happens and you say to let me know that I said I told you so, gut. Don't do it. Don't do it. We gon' this ain't gonna happen. All right, we cool? I'll feed you something in a little bit. Gut was talking to me. My gut's telling me weird shit has happened. I just that's the best way to put it. It was trying to tell me that we.
I was completely confused because I don't have the screen up and I didn't know if you was talking to somebody there. I'm like, what is going on? I
No,
wanted to answer, but you was replying so quick. I'm like, who? It,
no, my gut
I
was
should have just
my gut.
I should have just pulled up on the screen. Look,
I get it. I get it. I get it totally. I get everything that you
and
said.
how many times
And
have me
for
and you
me,
had this
right,
conversation?
right.
And
And how
and
many
and
times have we had this conversation and
and I,
then the weird shit that happened and we've been up there like, oh,
No, 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 no. Now keep it real. Now you have won a few battles, but how many more times, more often, that was it me coming
I
back to you going and Jay, you were saying?
right. Because realistically, when I sit up there and I look at what's needed for all the teams across the board, the Raiders is one. I would throw Cleveland out. Tennessee would be two. I would throw Cleveland out there at three because
Yeah,
Cleveland doesn't
because
really have.
even though they're trying to work something out with Fannin, they need a veteran presence. So they could use AJ, they could use or they could use Tariq.
Right.
I
So they
would go
can
with
use either
AJ
or.
before
But
Tariq, especially because of the injury. It's one
right.
thing if you gonna get the ego, which him and Shador might work. Their
Him and
personalities
Shador might
might
their
work.
personalities might work. But at the end of the day, is it's going to come down to is AJ going to accept losing, which in all intents and purposes, a lot of people don't understand the fact of the AFC North is going to be completely up for grabs because every single team that you want to sit there that you can try to pencil in and
Baltimore could
say,
technically use either one of them.
huh,
Baltimore could technically use either one of them.
what you going to do about Flowers?
He on one side,
So
him
then
on
that
one
means
side,
you're not
either
going to
Tariq
resign
or AJ.
you're not going to resign uh darn, why is his name drawing a blank from me? The one that everybody compared to Devontae for the longest time.
Oh, you talking about hmm, wow.
Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins.
He's older. He could be in the slot.
See, I just don't. I Baltimore could use them. Everybody in the North could use them except for the Bengals. This
Right.
is why I'm saying what I'm saying about the North. Because the North, if you look at the North right now, Pittsburgh needs to figure out who's going to be their quarterback. And then they wide receivers. Then their defense is
And
eight.
that offensive
And their
line
offensive line.
and then they I'm sorry, but they need to come up off of some of them older players
Yeah.
and all that money. They
But
need
they
to
don't
come up
want
off of
but
it.
see, but that goes back to what we were saying last week. They don't want to call it a rebuild when they actually need to rebuild. They can't stay older on
I mean,
defense.
I respect Cam Hayward. That ain't it.
No,
That whole thing with Jalen Ramsey, I told you that was the NFL version of
that was
the
the dumbest shit.
Dante uh
No, no, because at the end of the day, Doncic with Doncic AD, at least at the end of the day, Doncic is showing results from it. Neither one of the people traded in that trade showed anything.
I didn't say it was exactly that trade, but
But even
in the fact that you traded two injury prone, high money players, you basically did that kind of trade. That part is the similarity. Now, obviously, what you said about Doncic is what makes it not completely the same. But in terms of injured player for injured player, high money for high money, yes, that was high money player for high money player that didn't make no sense, which
and
is
then I don't even think
also
Fitzpatrick didn't even make it through at the end of the season with them. He got cut.
yeah,
So you basically traded him for nothing. You got nothing in
right.
return. And then trading Ramsey, you really got nothing for Ramsey pretty much because yeah, he played okay, but he was exposed a lot on the back end of that defense too.
Hmm.
And that was him playing safety. So it's like you can't
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, shit.
Yeah. But with that, let's go ahead. Let's talk about it. NBA, the All-Star game. What's your take on it? Because I already know my take is gonna be real spicy.
The game was more competitive than I thought. I think the younger heads, the younger squad, kind of took this as a passing the torch moment, which we've seen in multiple different facets of All-Star games as they gone along. They wanted it to be caught. They wanted it to win that one, and for them to come out and just completely and utterly the punch the old heads in the mouth like that, that was just insane. Because I went upstairs to go get my food. I was watching it on my phone, and I went upstairs to go get my food, and I looked down, and I'm like, wait a minute, 31-9? What is going on here? And I'm like, wait a minute, are they showing Kawhi's stat line from? No, that's the actual game. God damn. They came out and ball.
Well, like I told you, because I was confused. Because when I
Yeah,
turned it on, it was already on that last match. I
yeah,
just didn't realize it
yeah.
because
Because he was like, wait a minute, what happened?
I was expecting like a whole team of the U.S. against the whole team of the world,
Uh-uh.
and that's not what it was.
No,
And
they
and
split.
and
It
and
was similar to what they did last year, where they did it to where they split off into the four teams last year. But what they did was that they made the world team one, and then when they came up with how they were going to divide the regular players, it was like, well, let's put the players that had less than, I want to say, less than 3 or 4 years of experience. I think it had to be capped of like 5 years, and then they put everybody that was above 5 years on the same squad. So it basically was
now,
separating the generations.
which to me, I'm sorry. You know what this reminded me of? And this might be a hot take, but it was the first thing that popped into my head.
Which
You
one?
remember that? You remember that movie, Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah.
That's what this reminded me of. It's
Mm.
like, wait, you give me you sit up here and say it's gonna be USA versus the world, and then you give me basically a handicap match.
No, no. See, that's the thing. So that was the thing. It wasn't a handicap match.
It
It
was a
was
handicap match.
but you got to think about it. We had that conversation before. The world had pretty much, they've had every single MVP for the last 8 years on their squad.
I get that, but you had the world had to face two different teams, did they not?
Everybody had to play two different teams. It was a round
No,
robin tournament. Yes, it was.
no,
It was, yes, it was. The world lost its
no. I get the way they set the matchups. I
right,
get that part, but no, it was two versions of the US versus
right.
one version of the world.
True. Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was a handicap match. That's why I said it reminded me of Freddy versus Jason. You're supposed to give me Freddy and Jason, and then you got the humans over here, the young humans over here that are helping Jason.
I think the
Plus the
one
fact, plus plus the fact, I'm sorry if you're injured, get on the sideline with Giannis and Steph. Which, oh my God, Steph, that dude,
I
he
love that
is
man.
he is the shooting goat, and I don't want to hear nobody say
Thank
say
you.
say otherwise.
Finally,
He is the shooting
finally.
goat.
I saw it and I was like, that
And I
man.
knew he was gonna hit one of them. That was the sad part. He kept hitting the rim, and I'm like, he gonna hit one of these. He gonna hit one of these. He gonna hit at least one. He is hitting the rim, and they're not gonna tell me that that wasn't set up. How they come up with them balls that quick?
No, they said they were going to make him to it because if you think about where the placement was above where he would normally take his shot before he runs off into the locker room before the end of his thing. So if anything, you got to think about it. He took that shot from almost on eye level with the rim from the tunnel.
That is, dude, that is ridiculous.
Dude, I told you, I sat there. I've been a Steph fan for his entire career. When I watched the documentary, on Apple TV on him with that, I had a newfound respect for him because of the work that he put in. The same thing we talked about at the beginning of this show with the people that wasn't highly recruited, wasn't highly sought after, that put in the work for it in order to do it. And he put in the work, and he's the parents of a volleyball. He had the parents of a volleyball player and a NBA basketball player that told him they didn't put him in AAU to that fast or anything else. His dad told him that summer when he said that he wanted him to get ready, you're about to have to shoot. And they said he started him he was shooting almost a 500 shots with one hand at the same pace away from the rim at the same distance, and then they backed him out in order to get him used to it. That's what made that shot as pure as it is, to where that man can hoist it up from beyond half court and hit it nothing but net and with a flick of the wrist. That is disgusting, and I love it. I love every minute of it.
And I'm sorry, I had this conversation with somebody else online because he put online the top five point guards and he had it in this order. Isaiah, Jason Kidd, Magic, Stockton, and Chris Paul. And I said, um, I I'll ride with Isaiah being in the top five. And this has nothing to do with my previous bias because of all the MVPs and stuff. He is one of the great point guards. I'm not putting him above Magic or Stockton. I'm sorry. That just me. The way Magic did it, the amount of championships that he went to. Yes, I know uh when they faced the Pistons, they faced them what, at least three times. They lost two of them. Okay. But if you ask me who I'm taking between the two, I'm not telling you Isaiah Thomas.
Mm-mm.
Now, I might, if I got somebody the equivalent of Karl Malone, I wouldn't take Isaiah over Stockton either. Just because of what I saw, what he was capable of when he took you off the ball and what he could do with that pick and roll. Because say what you want about Utah and the fact that they lost to the Bulls. Him and Karl Malone gave people fits when it came to that to the pick and roll. Those was like two people who was like you knew what was coming and you still couldn't stop it. But back to the All-Star game. Yes, I saw effort. I feel like the fact that Doncic and Joker only played 5 minutes out of the whole thing hurt the world team
Oh yeah,
because basically everybody that wasn't there were the good distributors.
right. And it's just I
And that's what made it. I'm like, so basically all your distributors are sitting on the sideline.
but that's the whole point that I don't like about that when it comes to that aspect of it was that if they were hurt, they should have been replaced.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
everybody else, they was replacing people all the way up until Thursday. Because De'Aaron
Right.
Fox was not on the team for the one USA team until the last minute on there for it. So the world hurt themselves in that.
Yeah.
But the one person that I think that it gave him the most enormous chip on themselves on their shoulder, and they watch out for them this second half. Wemby was pissed.
Yes.
Wemby wants it, and that's
Yes.
that is what And that's the thing. That's the biggest takeaway I took from this weekend. We saw officially and openly the old
And
friendship brigade
they should be, and
are done.
I'm sorry. People, Perkins was commending Edwards
Yes.
because no, I'm sorry. It should not have taken seeing Wemby wanted to quote unquote set the tone. And this is what irritates me. Not to mention the format of this All-Star game. I'm sorry.
I
You
want to hear
have
what you
this
say.
format of the All-Star game. I don't want to hear nothing about who better than nobody from the past because
No.
they were motivated on their own because they were representing their team, they were representing their conference, and they were going to kick the other conference's butt.
And that's and I agree with you. That is where, but this is what, and I hate to say it, but this is where I think they're going to go back to it. I really do think that they're going to go back to the East versus West because the fact of the matter that this show, some of the comments that was made after the game, where Kawhi said he didn't realize that one of his teammates for the Clippers was on the world squad for there because he was a foreigner. There was so many things that went against the old heads that was in there, the buddy
Kawhi
crew,
wore itself out.
huh?
Kawhi wore itself out. And I knew after he interviewed after they won that game, and she said, you got anything and you got anything left for this last game? And he said, we'll see. I went, uh-oh.
Right. Because but this is what this was. And part of me think that this was strategic because you have to think about everybody that was out there playing on that older team. LeBron will not disclose if this is his last season or is he coming back for his farewell tour. Yes, I heard what Stephen A had to say about it today. No, I don't agree with Stephen A with everything on it, but everything that he says, but I partially do agree with him with what he said about LeBron because LeBron is the diva to where he would want a whole full season of going away. Now, the problem with that aspect of it is that I don't think it's going to be in LA. I think he's going back to Cleveland.
And the problem with him going back to Cleveland, you think the Lakers ain't gonna want nothing?
Oh no, but see here's the thing. The Lakers can't get anything for him. He's a free agent.
Right.
So,
And
bye.
that's why they should have traded him.
No, it was nobody wanted that albatross of a contract. That's why I said at the
That's
beginning
why I
of the
said they
season,
should have traded him before he opted in. They
they
should have tried
couldn't
to
have
see if
traded.
they could have got him a trade before he opted in.
They couldn't have traded. He has a void. That's the problem with his seniority. He has the void package.
Okay, well, let's get in office. Let's talk about it.
They tried. That was a whole part of that whole argument that came out with the report talking about Jeannie and him wasn't seeing eye to eye. They tried to sweep under the rug between there. That's why I said at the beginning of the season, LeBron fucked the Lakers when he resigned when he opted into that contract. He knew what he was doing. He's never opted in before. He handcuffed them. And you've seen it throughout this entire season. They can't get any better because they have a $54 million contract on their payroll that nobody wants to trade and get rid of because you saw a whole bunch of people that had 30 and $40 million contracts get traded and either get bought out or just get outright waived. Look at Chris Paul. God bless him in retirement. And from there in that, you saw it.
Well, he
But
wasn't gonna get to play anymore after whatever happened in the Clippers, I think.
no, I think the Clippers thing was facts. He tried to show that he still could do it. He showed that the Clippers weren't as good as they thought they were. They got better when Kawhi started balling, and then they turned around and traded away. Harden was like, "Yeah, we balling, but I want to go somewhere else," because he saw the writing on the wall. I can't knock that. Um, Durant's probably got about 3 to 4 more years. Curry trying to set up the world's greatest 3-point shooting contest next year.
Speaking of, um, why do they think I don't care nothing about what he did in practice?
Cool.
LeBron. Speaking of LeBron and things that I disagreed with today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing, oh well, LeBron should be in the dunk contest. For what?
At this point now,
Everybody
it's
that you
not
brought up, everybody that you brought up, the reason why everybody wanted to see them in the dunk contest was not simply because they were a great player. It was because they saw the dunks they were doing in game.
right.
People that wanted to see LeBron in the dunk contest wanted to see LeBron in the dunk contest because he was LeBron.
Yeah. And for some reason, they're holding, and this is one of those arguments to where I will hold this one against all the pundits that they've had it before. Yes, Jordan did it because Jordan was a dunker. He was a high flyer. And you had Jordan, you had Neat, you had Spud Webb, you had uh shoot Porter for no, you had Jerome Kersey. You had all these different dunkers that was in during that era.
They
LeBron,
were dunking. They were dunking on people.
right? But you cannot. You people have blown my mind with the whole thought process that thinking that LeBron would come in and LeBron would have beaten the likes of a Vince Carter or a Tracy McGrady or a Zach LaVine or Aaron Gordon. Shit, even a Matt McClung. You saw the four that he did in the gym that he would have done if he would have went for a four-peat. That would have won the slam dunk contest. Matt McClung was the only reason why anybody was watching the slam dunk contest the last 3 years because
and
he
and and according to them, like nobody was really watching. It's like it's okay to have that happen every so often, but you need the faces, not if they
no,
ain't
you
dunking
don't.
like that.
No, you don't. You don't need the faces like that because with Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, faces of the league, when they went out there and put on that show that was probably the second greatest dunk contest of all time, no,
You just need willing participants that are creative.
you have to understand the fact of beyond the props and the gimmicks, there's not too many dunks that have not already been done.
Exactly. And plus, they got that one league going on now.
Yeah, Shaq got that league where they doing that, and it's people that don't even that aren't even NBA players that are doing more outrageous dunks than some of the NBA players are. If I
Right,
want to see somebody 6'11" running down the field and throwing the ball between their legs and doing the dunk, no, their legs are longer. It doesn't have the same effect, folks.
right,
It's a difference from Aaron Gordon at 6'8" going between both legs and dunking. Or Zach LaVine doing the 360 from the free throw line. That's the difference. Even Matt, like I said, I watched the four that Matt McClung did. The one that he did where the guy threw the ball underneath his leg when he was going baseline and caught it for the dunk. I'm like, that would have got 50s across the board because it's something inventive that we've never seen before. The one dude that got out there and tried to do the dunk off the side of the backboard and catch it, we've seen that dunk all the time. It's not unless you can NBA jam it to where you're doing 360s in a spin before you can get to the rim and do the dunk like that. It doesn't matter. That's the biggest thing that people have to understand. Bronny can go out there. It's not going to save the dunk contest. We can go back in time and pull Vince Carter from the early 2000s into now and say, you know what? We're going to have you do the dunk contest again against everybody and see if you can still do the same dunks and get the same energy for it. It's not going to matter. The dunk contest is what it's not, it will never be what it was until somebody can figure out how to take off from the 3-point line.
Which they're gonna get tested as soon as they do it.
Right.
They gonna get tested. Like, yeah. Come on
But
in.
if you think about it, it's only 2 good strides for somebody that's 6'6". I mean 6'8" to 7 foot. That's only 2 strides from the top of the key 3-point line to the free throw line. We might see it, but until that happens,
They gonna get tested.
Right, they're gonna get tested. They're gonna get roided all out for it. But I don't. The 2 things that I took away from from this entire weekend: one, you should never have the NBA All-Star game up against the Olympics again, because what threw you off is the same thing that threw me off. I'm thinking, I'm used to Saturday, All-Star Saturday night by 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm getting ready to grab my popcorn. I'm about to watch the skills challenge and everything else. They were done by then on Saturday. The game was almost done by 7:30. Why? Because primetime is for the Olympics in Milan, Italy. And we're going to go to ice curling and tobogganing with the Jamaican bobsled team. Here's Mike Tirico. That's all it was. Why? How did you start an All-Star game on the West Coast at 5 p.m. Eastern?
Now, I will say shout out to Peacock because I was able to watch Game 4 and I was able to start it
And
from the
go back and
beginning.
watch everything else.
I had my phone. I had my phone watching. I had my small TV watching Game 4, and then I had my phone basically started from the beginning so I could get caught up on what happened. And yes, you are right. I will give them their due. Um, there was, it was more competitive.
Yeah.
There were too many, there were too many role players. On top of the fact that all your real ball distributors didn't play, um, either didn't play at all or uh only played 5 minutes for the world. Other than that, you had mostly role players. Powell is a role player.
Yeah.
That one dude whose name I can't pronounce starts with an A. He looks pretty good, but he's a role player.
But
You're taking on the creme de la creme. Meanwhile, you're taking on the creme de la creme from the other side.
and see, and the other part, but the one part that I hope everybody takes away from it, the 2 things hope everybody takes away from it is loving to seeing the younger people sit there and say, I'm not trying to be friendly. I want to win. That's the same intensity that we grew up watching the league on before Buddy Ball came in the late 2000s, early 2010s, to where it became, I'm out
Well,
here playing around with my friends and
well,
I don't want to do anything. We're just going to just put on an exhibition.
well. Here's the thing, and I think that to a certain extent, it's gotten a little misconstrued. Don't don't get it don't get it twisted. There were people that were cool during the 80s, during the
Mm-hmm,
early 90s. But their
mm-hmm.
thing was we could be cool when the game over.
Right,
During the game, I'm taking your head off.
right. And that's what I mean
That
by Buddy Ball.
that formed now that did form some natural enemies. There were definitely more enemies than there were friends. But like the awkward moment where every time Magic and Isaiah um played each other, they gave each other a kiss and left us questioning some things.
Right. But
It's like,
even with Jordan, like they said, like KG and Paul Pierce was talking about when Kobe was out there on LeBron and Kobe went and slapped the floor like, come on, let's go do it. And LeBron passed the ball off. And everybody saying that was the moment. That's what they call the moment that the All-Star game died. Because they came up and the old heads that was above them came up in that situation where they were saying, yo, if you get called out, this is where the one-on-one battles that everybody wants to see get the shine. If they say, if somebody sit up there and say, Micah had the ball, say clear out, everybody cleared out, let him go to work. Or if Magic said he wanted Isaiah, they would let them go to work. If Magic wanted to go against Bird, they let him go to work. That's what it was. But when LeBron sat there and passed the ball off from there, he made it to where, I don't want this. I'm playing team ball. I want everybody to be able to get their shine in there for it. Everybody's going to get their shine. You're the creme de la creme that's in there. You took away that edge from it, and that edge has been lacking. I've seen semblances of certain players that played with it. Giannis played with that edge still. Kawhi would play with it every once in a while. Steph, when it was time to turn on the game, Steph would do that. You would see different little pieces of it, but you saw,
that still trips me out last year when they was playing the young kids and they tried to get off and
yeah,
you just it was faint, but you heard Steph go, oh, no, no.
right. Right, but
He's
that's what
like,
I'm
oh
saying.
no,
But that's what I'm
no.
saying. That's those little competitive nuggets that's always been there. But the overall shine of it was like, hey, even on the other team, I'm gonna give you a 5 or something in order to go when you did something for there. You saw that more than what you saw in the previous one. With the hear Ant's post game when he sat there and said, yeah, they already know I'm coming for their neck when we out here. I want to go up against LeBron. I want to go against KD. I want that. And then I think that you did. I don't know if you heard Malika Andrews' interview with him after the game too, when he sat there and said, he said, I don't, I think I'm not worried about he said the whole thing where like, I'm not worried about being the face of the league or anything with it. And he was like, Wemby came out there, Wemby wanted it with that, but I wanted too. And she was like, well, what? She's like, what if we have an international face and an American face? He said, if I earn that right to be the United States face of the league,
Yeah,
then
I heard
so
that.
be it.
Yeah, I
But then
heard that.
so be it. He's like, but I gotta earn it. I
But
like the fact of him saying I gotta earn that instead of just trying to sit up there and do this 11 times while during your whole thing. LeBron, when they announced him, literally did his crowning 11 times before the game. You get for the debate to continue going on. Some of us call you the GOAT. I call you God because that's what everybody treats you like. It is
I
what
will
it is.
respect his career and the statistics and call him one of the GOATs. That's as
And
far as
that's
I'm
that's
going with
how
it.
I've always said it. But I would rather have people, players come up here, coming in saying, I gotta earn the right to be called the face or called the GOAT, than already come in being known as the chosen one. And it's not no hate, but when you already come in with the expectation or a level of feeling that you deserve to be here and you're trying to catch up with your accolades to where you feel like your level of deserving is, it minimizes the journey to get to that point because everybody's going to sit there and say, well, you always felt that you was going to be like that anyway. So now you just meeting the expectations that you set and that you put forth for everybody else to think that you were supposed to be. Instead of seeing somebody get it out the mud and sit there and drive to be that face, that star, that person that you see on the covers of video games, magazines, on the intro for NBA for the NBA and everything else with it. That's what you want to be. That's what made the stars that we've grown up and seen from all the way back in Bill Russell and Bob Cousy and Jerry West as being the logo to where we are now with Ant sitting up there winning MVP and sitting up there saying, he said it plain as day in the modern technology of what it is. He was like, oh, this is the best trophy I got in my house. This is going right next to my game system. And I just chuckled when he said it, like, he's still a kid. I think he gets it. Think that all of them right now are getting it because you're starting to see a lot more chippiness. you're starting to see a lot more edge to how they're playing. It's not, I'm gonna knock you down. Oh, you my homie from the same agency or anything else like that. Let me get you up. You got players shooing off to players from the other team for his own teammates to help him up. Because we in battle while we out here on the court. And you seeing it trickle down all the way down into college with some of the fouls. Because I know you saw that foul from the St. John's Providence game that
Yeah.
started the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had watched that game. I can't remember what I was watching, but um uh I wasn't I wanted to watch like anything St. John's. I'm down to watch. Like a lot of the Big East stuff. I was mad that they didn't put it on Peacock, so I could have watched it on replay. But um
Ooh.
yeah,
Okay.
because the Big East got a lot of because Peacock got a lot of they got the Big East, they got the Big 12, they got the NBA games. Any games that are showed on Peacock, you can go back and watch the replay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I
They
want
keep
to
it stored in there.
grow. That's why I want to grow because I actually want to have a show where that's what I'm doing. And hopefully I'll have a co-host, but I'm cool to start it by myself. Um, but yeah, that's what I want to do when I grow this thing. But I gotta get life out of my way down to a reasonable spot so that I can do it. But but yeah. So yeah, overall, yes, I saw more competitiveness. Steph is the shooting goat. What I saw from Kawhi kind of made me mad because it made me wish even more that whatever the hell was going on between him and Pop, they could have solved it. That way he could have stayed a Spur. And
Yep.
but you know things happen. It is what it is. I've always I never lost love for him. He's still my guy. Even though he's not a Spur anymore. So and I will always support him even though it was looking kind of. Now I don't agree. That's another thing I don't agree with Stephen A. As long as that one Ben kid did what he did with his career, Kawhi is not worse than him when it come to making money and hardly playing. Ben, what was his name?
Simmons?
Ben Simmons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kawhi was not worse than him.
No. No.
Um, especially seeing that even when he was on the court and he was healthy, he showed what he could do. But the problem is why can't he stay healthy? I would love to know that, especially after what I saw him do. That was insane. He was literally unstoppable. And Kawhi was literally unstoppable. So yeah, it was good to see that for him. I hope he can figure out. My question is when he knows he can play, is he going too hard? I
Mm.
don't have a problem with his personality. If he could figure out how to pace himself and work on whatever he needs to work on, whether it's stretches, whether it's exercise, whether it's dieting, what he needs to do more, what he might need to do less, just figuring that out so that he can stay on the court. And again, I'm sorry, I'm sick and tired of this argument. How soon do you think, I'm gonna put it out here this way since I keep hearing it. How soon do you think that they're gonna reduce the amount of games?
They can't. They can't.
They're going to. They're talking about it too much. They're
They
going to.
talk about it too much, but they talk about it to appease the they talk about it to appease the conversations that's had between themselves and the league. I mean, in the players association. The
It
reason why the reason why they cannot do it is because if they do that, then that means every statistical record that is made after that fact is going to
means
have an
nothing.
asterisk. It's going to have an asterisk. And at the end of the day, if you're going to have to put so many stars and asterisks on players' records because they play in a shorter league, then I want to say the NBA has been at an 82 game season since 1985.
Yeah.
So for over 40 years, every generation of basketball players has played the same amount of games.
Until they started, until the load management started, because one
Right.
team started it to
So
protect their players.
so let's be real here. Let's talk about this here. If you're talking about the big five sports, right?
Yeah.
So baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer. How many of those leagues have decreased their game loads over that time frame?
None
None.
that I'm aware.
None. If you're thinking about the impact that they have, or the impact of players, the risk of players getting hurt, and you're ranking those, would basketball be in your top three? No. Football, hockey, soccer. If you're talking about the length of the field or the court that these players are on, and you comparison to a basketball court, would would basketball be in the top three? No, they would be last. And then if you're talking about the amount of physical exertion that goes on throughout that entire game for the length of time of the game being played and the distances that they are running during that time frame, would the NBA be in the top five? No, I mean the top three. No. But you're the only ones complaining that you need to shorten your season. Grow the fuck up.
But 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 wait wait a minute. They shortened the season a little bit, and they made some changes in the NFL because they did make the preseason shorter. Does that count?
No, because they replaced it with a game.
Oh God! And they also made it where they didn't have to go so hard in the off season. Can they do that for the NBA?
Let's see here. The NFL has a mandatory now March, April, May, June, a 5 month off season. No, because here's the thing: which league do you have the most catastrophic injuries in? The NBA or the NFL?
Hmm.
The NFL has more players going off with air cast every
Yeah.
single time
And I
versus
and I still say that's because you're asking your body to do something that you don't train it for. When they stopped, I understand it was for safety. When they stopped having them actually do the stuff with pads on, when they stopped having them actually hitting, you basically stop training your body. And I feel like I would love to do a study on it and try to figure if there was a way that I could actually do a study so I could come up with actual proof if I had the time. That's something that I would love to prove beyond what I believe. That way it's more than just a theory in my head based upon the fact that I watched this. I watched back in the day and then I'm watching now, and now the rules have changed to where you're doing less. And but you still expected to do more or just as much because of how much you're being paid. I feel like with them doing less practices, it's kind of like people that are dealing with situations in school where they don't have homework. You don't have homework, but you expected to learn just as well as the people who had homework to give them extra practice to learn the curriculum. How is it that you take away the homework and you expect people to pick stuff up faster with no practice?
It's just not. It's a softening. It goes, and I think that ties up the entire night of this show in a bow. We want to give everybody all the money and all of the freedoms of being an individual and hope that they will do what's right without hands-on guidance, because Lord knows we can't physically give them hands-on, we can't push them in the right direction, we can't coax them into the right direction for any of this. We do all of this, and the repercussions of it is you can't, with you not being able to do this, or with you not being able to actually work as hard as your predecessors did to be in this life. Yes, I know technology. Yes, I know nutrition. Yes, I know calisthenics has all changed to where we're supposed to be bigger, faster, stronger, more able to heal and everything with all the new found ways of herbal and supplements and everything else with it. Oh, excuse me. I know we've done all of this. But the fact of the matter is that even with that going on, the tested and true way of you being in your peak athletic condition is repetition. To get yourself in there, to get yourself to your peak form, you go through the reps. It becomes the muscle memory. Steph hitting that shot from that area, from that interview area to there, that all comes down to muscle memory, to where your body doesn't get fatigued because it's so used to doing it. That's why that man is in his 15 plus year, can still run around a basketball court. Oh yeah, by the way, folks, if you don't remember about Steph Curry, the whole first part of his career, he was on bad ankles. He was always tweaking an ankle. Then once he got in there and did the work and built up the muscles around there for it, it became less and less. Does he still roll his ankle? If you have not ever rolled your ankle before, once you do it once, you're susceptible for doing it forever.
Oh my God, I couldn't avoid it. I
And you're
couldn't
good
avoid it
for at
when I
least
was
once a
younger.
week, once a week to once a month.
Yeah.
In between there,
And,
you
and,
can
and
be walking down the street and your ankle will just say, nah.
I was always playing, always did it playing basketball. I did it like somewhere between 1 and 5 times a week because we were basically out there every day because I was in a child shelter, and even when I was in the foster homes, I had to and then I came down here. Matter of fact, I lost a job because I rolled my ankle so I couldn't come into work, and I had to quit the job because the guy I was supposed to be replacing was just kept messing with me and talking about I was faking and just wouldn't shut up. And the people hurting. But what they didn't know was my patience was running out. And I worked in the kitchen
Mm.
and he kept walking past me. And I'm just picking up stuff and he's sitting up here just running his mouth, not knowing what's going on in my head. And I'm like, I gotta go because I know what I'm about to do. I'm really getting sick of this dude. Um, so I went ahead and quit. And when I came in and got my check, he was like, dude, you couldn't hold off 20 minutes. I'm like, he wasn't gonna make it that long. It's like he wasn't gonna make it another 20 minutes. Because I think I had started at like 3 or 4 and he had basically gone for like, I think I left at like 20 to 5. I'm like, no, I gotta go. I, I, I'm about to, I'm about to put him. He don't know what he's about to get.
But see, the crazy part though is that that people don't understand is even with that, once you do it once, it's going you bound to happen again. But if your parents already had that, it becomes genetic. It doesn't matter what you do. I
Mm.
was sitting up there. I first rolled my ankle at 4, and it's never got better. And it hurts like hell. I
Oh,
can't,
wow.
yeah, I cannot. You will sit there. If right now to this day, if I'm sitting here and I can turn my ankles to the side, you will hear my ankles pop with the arthritis that's in there for 'em. And that's just from in general. I have bad ankles and shin splints. Hate them to death.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's not fun. But the fact of the matter is that the reason why I got through and I played football, I played basketball was you couldn't tell me not to work on my legs. You couldn't tell me to build up the not to build up the muscles around there. I still to this day know how to do all the stretches in order to give it back to get it back if I wanted to. But I'm not playing sports like that anymore. I just do it now to make sure I'm mobile because the older I get, the creakier it gets. So to sit there and think that you can do the bare minimum and be able to succeed in any professional sport, and I emphasize professional. If you are going to be a professional, and now professional starts in high school, because as soon as they start paying you, you are a professional. No matter how much you want to sit there and change it and try to protect stuff with it, they they will you have to treat it even though you might be still amateur status because you're in high school and you're in college. You have to think about it like I've said before that somebody is investing their money into you for you to be the best version of yourself to represent them.
All right. So, um, so yeah. So to go ahead and slide this on out because I know you got stuff to do and you got to get home.
Yeah,
And
sure.
All-Star game, I want them to bring the competition and I want them to bring it with people that are healthy. I don't want no participation points. I respected what Steph and Giannis did way more than what Doncic and Joker did. If you so hurt, you can only play 5 minutes, and you're only playing a total of 24 minutes. No, move to the side. Let somebody else come in. Hopefully, grab somebody that's a distributor because to me, that was like the biggest difference, especially when they was playing the younger team, because the younger team knew how to distribute and catch people in transition going to the hole. And that was another thing that killed Wemby. He was doing so much, trying to do so much that a lot of times he was doing too much, trying to take a bunch of people to the rim off off the dribble and take them to the rack. And it's like, dude, you taking on 3, 4 people, somebody else open. Let's go. But yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree with you, and I do agree with those that said um that because of the level of competition, um this was a better in that regard, this was a better all-star game. And with that, I'm Dante Suave. This is Mr. J, and we will
Have
see
a
you
good week.
guys next week. Have a good week.
Have a good week, everybody.